Hey.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? It is the Black Files, episode 26 up in a building. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, we definitely come to kick it off, 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 you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Ah, religion is a big and spirituality is a big, big, big part of our community. Very big part of our community. I think that it is a central integral part of our community. And with that being said, you know, um, man, number one, Miss Oshun, how are you doing? Let me just start there. How are you doing, sister? What's going on with you?
I am not furloughed, so I guess I'm doing great.
um, what do you think about religion and spirituality in our community? Before we even get into our video, what do you think about it? Like, in what ways is it keeping us thriving? In what ways is it holding us back? Is it holding us back? Has it ever been good for us? Like, what do you think about
That's an interesting question. Has religion specifically, held us back, right? And that
it?
question, so, okay, has religion, meaning not our interpretation of it, not its function, but just religion itself, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
we kind of question, well, what religion, right? Like, not all religions. We're not talking about all religions, right? Because then
Absolutely.
you see, then we would have to be a comparative analysis between, let's say, religions as different as the Tao Te Ching and Mormonism. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, what are we talking about when we say, has religion caused us to lose our way, right? I don't think that, it's not my personal opinion that religion itself is what is causing the problem. I think
Mm-hmm.
religion is the means by which the problem executes itself into reality. But I don't think it itself. It's much like the tool and the person yielding the tool. Like a sword can
Mm-hmm.
kill no one.
Mm.
Swords have never woke up one day and said, "I think I need to get it up in somebody's guts." Like, no sword has ever woke up and said that. I assure you that. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people have. So
Mm-hmm.
the depth of why are people in this way, I think, is the question. And I do understand people's perspective that people are acting this way because they've accepted religion. Um, yes and no. And honestly, I'm more so on the no end of that because religion has, uh, again, the function of religion makes sense, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
when you use that functionality for something else, playing on the psyche of a species, right? Like, for instance, we play on the psyche of pets all the time. We do
Mm.
for whatever we want. We play on their psyche. I've been seeing a lot of videos of people getting entertainment from pretending that in front of other animals that they're killing the same type of animal in front of them just to see if the animal can see the difference. And that's really weird because animals are not wired to understand the difference between a cat cake and an actual cat. If it looked like a cat
Mm.
to it. So when you
Mm-hmm.
do that, you get kicks and giggles off of some playing on the psyche of a being that isn't wired to do anything different. So um, again, I think this is where the basis of our question is in terms of religion being the problem or something deeper than religion being the problem.
And this is a perfect landing point for our video. Salute to everybody in the chat that has pulled up. Eric G. Bolo, I see both of y'all. Salute to both of you brothers. But we're gonna get right into our video, man. We're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna share my screen. You know what I mean? Salute to the brother Philosophical. That's what we're gonna, you know, um, be chatting about as far as his perspective and our views on it. You know what I mean? And who knows? He may make an appearance, y'all. He might make an appearance. We never ever know. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me make this broader. All right. And sis, let me know whenever you want me to stop the
Mhm.
video. All right. You know what
I'll,
I
I'll,
mean? And
I'll
not,
try to let you. I'll try to take notes. and let you finish it and not
All
break.
right, all right. But you know, you can. I want you to stop me in between, and then we can go back and forth. So
Okay.
it is
Okay.
what it is. But yeah, let me fair use everybody, and let's get into it, y'all.
Like these little talks a little better. You know what I'm saying? I could just talk. I ain't got to worry about what I'm wearing or my lighting is correct. Cause I don't even need all that. A lot of y'all need a lot of props and productions, and I'm gonna have that. But my sincerity is my credentials. You feel me? I came to kick it like no other. But you see the title, man. The thin line between a believer and a fucking psychopath. Um, I, as I read and peruse through the comments of the shows I've been on, because I just like to get a gauge of how people think. You know what I mean? And when you listen to, and you look at the comments, and you look at the people and what they're saying, I just seen a man call me, said, "There's the devil and evil in me because you can tell I haven't mastered anything. I'm just, just all this assumption, all this stretches of the imagine, like they just jump to the most craziest conclusions, and you really see the devil and the evil psycho come out of them, which makes perfect sense. That's why it's like these people are so busy trying to disprove me when I'm just reading history. You know, I'm just reading what's documented. You know,
Now, okay. For clarity here, all right, and Mr. Bass, please back me up on this.
Go ahead, sister.
Tonight, my job is not to criticize philosophical because I am a fan. Okay.
So am
Um,
I.
but I was asked or task. You know me, I'm from Baltimore. That asks. I was I was asked to lend some new insights, and in a sense, maybe play devil's advocate. So any criticisms I have tonight is truly from the
Mhm.
perspective of playing devil's advocate, not because I really feel like I have a open problem with philosophical. I don't. I just reviewed the information and try to see where a different conversation could possibly exist. That might
We
elevate.
want you to give your unbiased,
Oh,
uncensored,
trust me,
unfiltered, all that.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate today. Don't worry. Okay, time is on my side.
Say
I'm gonna
you
do
can support him. You can say whatever you want to do. It's up to you. That's what you want. So and that's what we're gonna do tonight. So
Well, I am, and I'll say this: the first point, and I'm not gonna be long winded tonight because y'all not gonna keep me up here all night. Okay.
yeah, we
I
out of
know
here
how
pretty quick.
people
Yo. I'm
eat.
letting y'all know that right now. We ain't gonna be here that long
We ain't gonna
time.
be all night. Okay,
All night.
so the first thing that he said, which was, he said his sincerity is his credential,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
while in every sense of the word, I do believe him. Like, and I'm using the word belief here for on purpose. I do believe him, but at the same time, for everybody that feels opposite to him, that is also true. Their sincerity is also their credentials. So I feel like, and I say feel because I could be corrected on this. It's my opinion that if you're going to use something as arbitrary as sincerity as credentials, and then at the end bottom line that with hard line historical facts, I feel like those two things are not congruent. Like your sincerity versus history. I wouldn't have. I don't mix those two things because I'm very much looking at the sincerity of every Christian who truly believes that he or she is saving your soul from burning in actual fire, whatever that may be. And they don't want that to happen to you, and they are very much sincerely trying to get you to accept the thing that's going to save you because they don't want to see you harmed. I think
Mhm.
that sincerity is just as valid as his. And what he said about I'm just, here to basically give you the history of it, right? In terms of the brass tacks facts of what has happened in history. I'm not going to debate history, but what I will say is history is not the whole of the issue. It's really
Mm.
like you can quote history all day long, but the two things that history will never, let's say, overpower is people's fear and their sexual drives. These are two things that will never be overpowered. Oh, there you go.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ella.
Was good. Was good.
What's going on, family? Thanks for checking in, brother.
Yeah, it's cool. I was running late, just got off work, man. I know I told you I was gonna pull up. I ain't want to do y'all like that. I'm just looking real little disheveled from work, so I had to calm down. But
Oh,
I'm here. I
you
just literally just logged in. I ain't even hear what y'all talking about. I don't even know where you at. I'm just like, oh, I told him I gotta log in. Hold on, let me log in. So I just came home and just got right to it, man.
It's all good, brother. And you also have the capability, and so do you. You already know, Lola, what you can do. Y'all both can stream to your channels or whatever your respective channels, and we can just get into it.
right.
Yeah.
I was just you had just started speaking, and I had paused you on the point, your first point, where you had said in reference to representing, or let's say presenting, just history to the people that are uh, acting like psychopaths. It's in the very beginning, so we haven't gotten
Okay.
far. And
Okay.
I was just giving my prelogue about your statement of the sincerity piece, and that it's my belief that your sincerity is your credentials. However, sincerity is a slippery slope, in that sincerity on a Christian looks very different than sincerity on somebody from that might practice animism or whatever. But everybody is, well, I ain't gonna say everybody, I'm gonna say genuinely people that feel that they're saving you from whatever they believe is trying to attack you. They are doing that from a sincere place. However, their sincerity isn't doesn't speak to the truth of the matter. But I can give credit to what we're doing in the here and now, in that understanding everybody is sincere, and that we don't need to see each other as combatants. That's what I was getting ready to say before you popped on.
No,
Uh,
no doubt. When I said that, um, I was coming from the perspective where a lot of people on these platforms think their credentials isn't their sincerity. Their credentials is, I have a big subscriber count. I have an 800 credit score. I'm married. I have a lot of followers. Like that doesn't qualify you to speak to people though. So when I say my sincerity is my credentials, it's saying that my credentials is because I really care enough to really study and know what I'm talking about. Their credibility is the fact that they're always on the computer and they know how they got the right lighting and they have talking points. So it's like we all are sincere, but
mhm.
all of our credentials isn't sincerity. That
Oh,
is my credentials. Their credentials be because I work, I have a good job, I have a wife, so you should listen to it. It's like that shit don't mean that you know what the fuck you're talking about. So that's what I meant. But you're right. But that's the context I meant in it.
okay.
Because a lot of people will be on a panel with you. Like I was on a panel a couple days with some goofy ass dudes, and they be thinking like, "Oh, I have, I went to the army. I went to the military. I'm a part of a fraternity. That's why you should listen to me. That's not why we should listen to you." So their
Mm.
credentials really be their credentials. My
Mhm.
credentials is
Hmm.
I really give a fuck about y'all. So that's what I meant.
Okay. So
If
with
that
that,
makes sense.
yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm glad you said that.
No
Um,
doubt.
because that lends into, I think, and you'll get further on into this inside of the video, but just the title of the video. I took some notes about that title. And it's interesting that you named it that title and made certain references. So I mean, and you definitely can let me know like where I went wrong, because again, my job here is to play devil's advocate, because I don't necessarily disagree with anything historical or factual or even maybe somewhere in between, right? But I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it my earnest to see where I can pull out a deeper conversation. And because I listened to the broadcast, I think like maybe 4 times. So I went through and made some notes. But since you're here early, okay, you're gonna correct me. But Mr. Best, you can finish playing. I just wanted to stop for that point right there. And then I was gonna tell you continue on. But yeah, you can definitely press play.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also just to give a little bit of perspective on what both of you shared. I think a lot of times we're not getting authentic reactions to what people really feel. So just based on the fact that Illa is doing that and he's giving his genuine reaction, he's giving his genuine thoughts and feelings based on his research and based on the things that he actually knows and historically and everything else, even spiritually. I think that is the difference. A lot of people on here trying to act like they care or trying to act like they have knowledge of what they're talking about, and they really don't. You know what I mean? They're on here for clicks and views, they're on here for whatever else, and they're not on here to really share and give back to our people. So I
Mhm.
think there's a big difference, and definitely I salute you for doing that, brother, and I salute all the content creators that do that as well. You know what I mean? Me, Miss Oshun, you know what I mean? It ain't enough of us, but it's enough of us if that makes sense. But
Mhm.
fair use, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna keep going into it. We're gonna get into more of the meat of the conversation. Let's get it.
It's just crazy how these people are. Skinny was good, was good. Stacy Prince reviewed that fiasco with you and Anton last night. Damn, who's that? You guys send that to me, Skinny. I don't even know people still talking about that. That shit old as hell, but I guess people starting to see him for the goofy ass nigga he is. So, chickens coming home to roost, but whatever. Another Christian nigga. But yeah, these people will kill you. And if you watch anything, if you watch movies with like that's really based on like real actual movies based on like a killer's life, like the uh the Jeffrey Dahmer type of movies, or like movies that's assessing a killer, or even if you watch a documentary about a killer, they believe shit very, very strongly to the point they will kill you. They believe that they're loving you. They believe in that they're not hurting you. They believe that shit. Even though you're bleeding to death on the floor and shaking, losing feeling in your fucking body, they don't believe that you're like, you gotta really get into the mind of a psychopath. It be based on a belief.
Okay.
These people will kill you, which makes sense.
Okay, so this is the part right here that I was like, all right, let me delve into this psychopath situation, right? So, all right, the inference was the example of Jeffrey Dahmer, and I think that was a good example here. But I'm gonna try to argue why maybe that example uh, kind of highlighted a different problem that is beyond religion. Uh, from what I understand, okay, and I don't get me wrong, I have worked in mental health, but I am not a mental health expert. Okay, I got out of that for a reason. A psychopath doesn't necessarily equal somebody who believes in any particular thing, right? I think like it can be somebody who's on the belief side, like let's say a religious zealot, right? Could qualify as that, but that's not the qualifier. There's specific qualifiers of psychopath, typically around antisocial behavior, emotionally manipulative, and lack of empathy, which is what I had seen in many different sources that I looked this up. So there was that. However, for instance, in Jeffrey Dahmer's case, right? He's a special case because, and I'm not only talking about him specifically to bring this back to a point. He's a special case because he didn't fit the clinical definition of a psychopath in terms of how it's judged in the different faucets. He just didn't have those sorts of elements present. And you would think, well, what do you mean he did lack empathy, right? There was certain things in that case that let investigators and was it people psychiatrists understand that no, it's not that he lacks empathy and his brain is going through something. That's not it. What I found was interesting about him was that a lot of what played into why he did what he did was because he didn't believe in anything. He professed to be an atheist. And as a result of that, he didn't feel that he had any sense of belonging. And as a result of that, he felt that there was no consequences to his actions, either here and now or in the hereafter, and he was okay with that because obviously there was other psychological issues like what could be said to be an extreme case of loneliness, in that, like Illa said, he's doing something to someone that is gruesome, but in his mind he's keeping them close to him because he doesn't want to lose what he thinks is, let's say, some kind of affection, and it's been warped into what we all know he was into, okay, in every sense of the word. But this is an extremity of let's say loneliness. Like, everybody gets lonely, everybody feels like they don't want their lover, the one they have affection to leave. We all have that feeling, but in his case he wasn't like, under no circumstance was he willing to let that go. So he was suffering from something real, just in an extreme way. And his religious beliefs specifically, he didn't have any religious beliefs that made it okay for him to do that. And that was interesting because that's my personal gripe with people who profess religion. Regardless of the past, the history of people who have professed these religions and done crazy stuff, we here and now. And right now, somebody says, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Sikh, I'm this. I'm expecting you to live based on the tenets of what you just said. I'm not criticizing it. It's just you have to live by the tenets based on what you just said. And a lot of times what we see, at least, and I'm going to keep it on our community, okay? We don't see people living by the tenets of the religions that they profess. So like Jeffrey Dahmer, people are doing things as if tomorrow ain't coming, as if they don't believe that they're going to, quote, burn forever. Like, literally forever for this. Like, it's not like you're going to burn for 2,500 years. No, forever. Like, if your belief is that strong in you not looking at a woman with lust, at you not causing harm, as Jesus would say. Well, Jesus flipped tables, but you know what I mean. I feel like, yes, they are like Jeffrey Dahmer, in that they have lost their religion, and religion now is just a social Ferris wheel. It doesn't have any substance to it. And so therefore you see people doing the most bizarre things under religion. Now, granted, I would be remiss to say that Jeffrey Dahmer didn't get in jail and, find Jesus. According to him, he found Jesus, and like Constantine, confessed on his deathbed, or his whatever. I don't know how he died. I forgot. But people that made people question their religion. I seen a couple documentaries about people questioning Christianity because in real time they seen what happened with Constantine in history. Someone that did atrocious things, and then at the very, very last moment accepted Jesus, and they can't understand, how do you reconcile that with the religion that says, faith without works is dead, sharing the same heaven with Jeffrey Dahmer, that just don't go over well on the psyche. Like, it just doesn't. So people had a real live issue with that, for the same reasons I have an issue with religious people, that if you didn't live in that energy, you don't deserve that energy. Like, that's just how that is. And energy begets energy, and it moves in a circle, not a straight line, like that you can change. Like, this is my understanding. So when you talked about Jeffrey Dahmer and the whole psychopath thing, that you're causing harm and not understanding what you're actually doing, I think in some sense we all can take a piece of that pie. And I've been part of that pie, by the way. So I'm using myself as an example. I have been through several religions and have fought vehemently to defend every specific religion, and then gotten to a point where I realized I think I was wrong. But yet I was so, valiantly defending it or like, yo, you're like the best debater in this particular thing, i.e. religion. But then I come out of it on the other side, and I'm like, wow, like, I guess I was hurting people, not even knowing that what I was doing, because of my sincerity. So it's like, and I hate to say this about Jeffrey Dahmer, I really do. I hate even thinking about what he did. But in some sense, I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say, even that wigger had some sincerity with him. But I'm going to stop there, okay? I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer for all y'all who might come for me. Okay, I'm not.
You defending something, I mean, so you gotta make it clear.
I'm just presenting an argument. Okay, it could be wrong.
Oh man, I think what you're saying is definitely precise, and I think a lot of times, especially the last point that you make, a lot of people they will stand on a religious soapbox, no pun intended, and they will proclaim that they love, whatever deity they love, but
Mm-hmm.
yet they're doing things that are contrary to that. They're doing things that's contrary to really showing love and showing things of that nature. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how can you really, even I can't even really take what they're saying, with credence or even credibility because it's like your actions is contrary to your beliefs, and it's contrary to the person that you're following. The person that you're following speaks out against your very actions and your very attitude and character.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you're saying that you're doing this in the name of, and the person that you're following is like, nah, that's not even what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we just really got to twist it a lot of times. Also, I think that when it comes to, because you were talking about like whether um, Jeffrey Dahmer's whether his repentance was actually genuine. Now that I cannot speak for. I'm
Yeah,
not, I'm
yeah, I
not in his
don't know.
heart. I don't
I
know.
read that. I read that. I don't know if he actually
Okay,
said
no,
that.
but
But
I'm
I
just
read
saying. I'm
that.
just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I don't know if he was sincere in his repentance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so, maybe not. Right? But there's a scripture that talks about like how some people may their walk with God may be longer than others, right? And they may have basically been more faithful than others, but we all receive the same prize, right?
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't have any favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's what the word says. Now I'm not speaking. I'm not telling y'all what God is going to do or what He should do or what He should look at repentance as. I'm just saying based on just the word. That's what the word says, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I mean, God does what He does. You know what I mean, and His word is His word. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I just want to make this clear. You know what I mean, I've always said this to y'all. Yes, I'm a believer, but just come, I'm a believer doesn't mean I'm blind. All right, doesn't mean that I'm not for my people. Doesn't mean I'm not for actually loving people and giving to people. So yeah, I might, even though I believe, that don't mean that I'm just gonna let you, I'm just not gonna say what I really feel and
Mm-hmm.
actually really stand on it and actually really, be about really what the scripture says and what God holds us to. So,
Can I
and
can
I'm
I,
also,
can I ask Illa a
and
question?
I'm also not gonna play in my face either. So it is what it is. But go ahead, Lola.
No, I wanted to ask Illa a question on the point of empathy as he had gotten into Jeffrey Dahmer about his own interaction with Bruiser because I did go back and watch the other video that this one was based on, and I took a stab at a few other ones just to see some interactions, and I'm gonna ask this. So Illa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So here's my question, right? There was a instance, and just kind of follow me here. There was an instance on the other video that this video was premised on, where Bruiser had asked you, essentially about if religion isn't what you premise your morality on, right? Then how do you come to judgment? How do you come to your morality in and of itself, right? He asked that question, and from what I understood, you gave him the highest level of explanation that I think Jesus would disagree with because I think it lacks so much nuance that it would literally confuse somebody. Like, I know what you're talking about, but in that instance, when he asked that question, that was a legitimate question that was literally confusing. Well, he technically was confused inside of listening, but most people have a confused like understanding of the answer to that question. And it's hard to kind of explain that. It takes time to parcel that out. Inside of your interactions with him when he asked that question, do you think that your, as you said, your aggressive empathy may have been a lack of empathy that was needed in the moment?
I mean, you said a lot of things though, so because you said something earlier, so
Oh, okay, go
I
ahead.
want to come back to this. But first, I want to address what you said earlier. You said that Jeffrey Dahmer didn't have a belief, and the first thing that you mentioned to use as an example to express a person having a belief or not was religion, which basically goes back to my issue with everything, because the point is people are, especially in this space, people are trying to see who's right and who's wrong. And what people don't understand is you will only know what's right and what's wrong when you yourself read. And from that information, you get it verified and you understand the process of verifying information and removing belief out your mind to get to a certain firm foundation. That's why the Bible said upon this rock. It's all symbolism. Your foundation got to be rock solid, and that comes from knowledge. So the questions that people have can be answered on their own. And the more questions people ask often speaks to the lack of scholarship they have. So that's that. For two, belief is not a religion. So I looked up the word belief because it just shows you that we only associate beliefs with religion. You mentioned that he had a mental illness. He sure did. So I looked up the word belief, and this is what it said. Belief is an acceptance that something is true or real, often without complete proof, and can be a conviction or opinion. Nothing religious was mentioned.
Mhm.
It can be a mental state of certainty, faith, or trust in an idea, proposition, or purpose or person. Beliefs can be shaped by various sources, such as personal experience, family, education, and media. So he had a belief. That's for that. So as far as Bruiser's concerned, Bruiser asked me basically, how can you understand morality without religion? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did I say in return that made
You
you confused? I said
well,
what?
no, it didn't make me confused, but I could see how he would be confused. And like you said, the certain questions, not so much asking questions, but certain questions let people know where you at in your scholarship of the subject matter. And I could tell he was very much like on the lower level of scholarship in that, but he
And
was asking the right question. And you expressed to him that there's things that he inherently has, like intuition.
yeah, so that answer is not a high level answer. See, when I'm on a panel, I'm not there to entertain people that spend their days, months, investments, understanding of algorithms, proper font placement for thumbnails, the proper camera, the lighting. When these people get on a panel with me and start, and I know that they invest so much in telling other black people what they're not, what they not doing, why they can't do it. They shouldn't have multiple kids. They should like this ideal life, and they don't have any clue about the fundamental happenings, historically proven to be so, that has went on longer than the actual effect of it has. I'm gonna make them think. I don't give a fuck if he gets it. I'm talking to the people. So what I'm trying to do is display a showcase of ideologies so people can make the choice. It ain't about me and Bruiser. I'm saying, look, y'all, these are the niggas who be talking to y'all all day about the effects of things that they know nothing about. I don't give a fuck if he don't get it, because guess what? You got it. So what does that prove? That the amount of people that we think like him is not as many as they think it is. It's just that it's not enough people that's saying stuff. That's why when you look at the comments, the people is flaming them niggas. Because them niggas think people are stupid. And I'm trying to show people that I know you're not stupid. They're stupid. See? That's why.
Okay. So all right, let me deal with the comments for a second. I did see the comments. I seen the comments on screen,
I
and
mean, does that make sense? Does that is that is that
it does make sense. But
does that answer your question?
it does answer my question. But I'm gonna ask you a deeper question to get to something
Okay.
you said there.
I
It
just want to
does.
confirm. I just want to make clear this. So the question is, you question. Just want to make clear for the record.
You put
Was
it right.
belief explained? Did that make sense?
That makes sense. So
Did the bruiser explanation make sense?
it makes sense.
Okay, I just had to get that on the record because a lot of people say a lot of stuff like, this guy is just crazy. So I just want to make sure that your questions was answered correctly, right?
Yeah, yes,
All right, cool.
I understand, and I understood when you did it. I did. However, I felt like the empathy piece, and keep in mind, I'm speaking from a position of a feminine being, right? I'm not female. I'm not my body, but that's the energy that I speak from. So I may pour into that on my own. Then maybe a man would, but I think the point is still the same as in to ask, well, what is your ultimate goal when you're educating someone who is an empty cup? You see what I'm saying? But let me ask you.
They're not empty cups. So y'all got to understand
Yeah,
between
they
the
definitely are full. They all full of some stuff right there. With
a
like,
lot of them are. So
I
it's like
got
you can't be filled because we're pouring on your head in this. Just imagine these conversations as a visual of a cup getting poured water in it. Can you literally pour water in a cup? It's going to pour on the side.
yeah.
And now everybody's wet because it's just going to be pouring all over the table. And now it's water under all the cups. That's why when these people speak, then they just throw off everything.
Okay.
It literally plays out in the conversation. Answers are presented. Information is presented. They
Okay.
don't want it.
Well,
That's why I'm done. It's not about them or me. It's about the audience. I'm talking to the people.
it is
I
about
want the people to see.
right. It is about the audience. So here's my thing, right? So when you express to him that he is endowed naturally with everything he needs to answer that question, the reason why I felt like that was a really, really qualified answer for only a certain type of person to understand and get just from hearing it, let alone somebody just explaining the small.
But pause. I'm sorry, I mean to interject. But I didn't just say that. I
Right, you
said you
need
have
to.
to observe. No, I said you have to observe, and you learn through experience and observing your environment. These are not high concepts. I think we just think very lowly of our people, and you're dealing with people who think lowly of our people. I don't. I really give people the benefit of the doubt that they're smart. That's how you do things. You have to, when you study the mind, that's why belief is so necessary for these people, because they really don't believe it. They need something to spark it. So you have to speak to things that are not as though they were. I'm not going to talk to black people like they dumb. I'm not going to disrespect them, but I'm not going to talk to them no, they do know. You have to call it out. We always talking about God, but don't want to do none of the powers of God. The powers of God is say it, do it, and that's it. People they stuck, and they just gonna be stuck. Everybody not gonna get it. The ones who get it is gonna quicken with them quick. We gotta keep explaining for people who cups is full. I can't pour your cup, but if I take water off it, then now I took it. No, you pour out your own drink.
Okay,
These
so
people,
let's pour this out right now on you, right? Because I gotta be the devil's advocate right there. I gotta
that's
hold you to
cool.
task. So, what's the difference between intuition and instinct?
I mean, instinct is soon
No,
as somebody grab you, you just move your arm.
what's the difference between the two? I think
Intuition isn't physical. Instinct sometimes has to get physical. To be honest, this is the thing with words, right? Because we could be here all day. That's why I study happenings, because happenings are what matter. Happenings actually happen. And then people use words to try to make you understand the happening. So the word don't even matter. The word is just an attempt to make you understand the concept. We told it's called a cat. I don't know what the fuck that shit called, but we call it a cat.
correct.
So you have to move beyond the word. That when I say move beyond belief, it's more than just religion. It's a whole mind shift. because belief affects how you look at everything, even speech and grammar.
Hmm.
Because this is a cup, and a cup, it could be a cup or it could be a weapon. It's all about your perspective. I can hit you in the head with this shit and never use it to drink nobody. Knock you in the head with this glass, knock you the fuck out. It's a projectile now, but I can use it as a drink too. It's just explanations of something that's dependent on a happening. You notice that the happening changes the use of the thing that already been defined, but you thought it was because this chair, because somebody happened to fuck with me, it's a weapon now because of what happened.
Okay. So understanding what happening, right? And this is what I'm saying by qualifiers and qualified questions, right? Because sometimes if you've never been in a place like for you, I don't think you have been where I've been in terms of being lower than Bruiser in terms of understanding. Okay. I don't
Why do
think
you think that we all start at zero? We like
Mm.
what are we
as
talking about
adults,
here?
as
We
adults,
all start at ignorance and not knowing. That's not
adults,
we all do.
as adults.
As human beings, you
Oh,
don't know shit as a child.
I
As
mean,
a child, I spoke what the Bible say. As a child, I
I
spoke like
spoke
a
as a
child.
child.
I
And when I
got
As a
became
man,
a
I put
man,
childish things away.
I got
I
you,
put
but
away childish things. So the thing is,
Hmm.
because the
as
key word you
adults,
said was good, was qualify. That's the main word, qualify. Some people are not qualified to say and talk about certain stuff. And that's the issue. If you don't
Mm.
understand history and you don't understand culture, stop spending your days talking about the issues and ills of Black America after all these things happen already.
well,
And then
that
refuse. That's what these people be doing. So since they do that, and since I know they do that, and behind the scenes be sending me voice notes about, oh, I fuck with you, I respect you. I'm not about to let you play in front of the world because they niggas know.
but see,
Because you don't know what you're talking about.
I can agree that when it comes to talking about issues with a whole population, a whole race of people,
But that's what these people do on their
right,
channels all the time.
they do have. They're not qualified to have that conversation. However, the question that Bruiser asked you, I think any and everybody, every human being has to ask themselves that question if you're going to move from the area of
But a
ignorance.
lot of people have asked that question.
Correct. But
A lot of people have.
he asked the question earnestly, and I could tell that he really don't know the answer, but he asked that question
Mm.
earnestly. And my thing is, if most people can't verbalize from their psyche the difference between instinct and intuition, right? I bet you dollars to donuts they're not operating as if intuition is instinct, or if they understand where the two don't come together at. They don't know that. And I've been there as an adult. I didn't understand there was a difference between intuition and
So
instinct. And
when did you learn it was?
I learned that when I was about 30 something years old. And
And
I learned that from a priest specifically. And I learned that because I kept coming asking the same question. And he said, you are not sensitive enough to understand what you're asking about because you are lacking the basics of understanding what is your intuition and do you even hear it? You can't hear it.
Lola, pause for just 1 second, sister. All right. Um,
With them, with that. No.
but
no, I
even
know.
that answer
I know,
was
I know,
go ahead. I'm
but hold
sorry,
on,
go
hold
ahead.
on, hold on. Let my bad, my bad. Um, I mean, what Raldo's asking is totally up to y'all. Y'all.
Although we cooking right now, okay. You come in here when dinner done. All right. Dinner ain't done yet. Okay. Have a seat. Have a seat. Put the game on. Chill out.
There you go.
Put the game on.
Okay.
Chill out. Okay. Eat your wings. All right. I know you itching. Come on.
I
Wait.
don't know if he got
Wait.
wings or
I
not.
ain't up
Hold
to
on.
that. All right. It's like chill out. I'm trying to get
Salute
something
to my
out.
brother Raldo. Salute to my brother Raldo.
It's like Raleigh, you know. Okay. But no, we I want you to come up after we kind of get through some of this. What I'm saying is, and I'm not saying this, but I'm asking the question because when somebody really doesn't understand the answer to something and something that I feel is a profound understanding at the very base level that you have to understand before you can move through quote spirituality, right? Because your instinct might tell you to do something that might harm you in a moment that your intuition will see before the time even arrives. So these are
So
things
Lola,
that
what is the
you have
base
to
level though? What is the base level?
Exactly.
the base
It's like
level.
the base level is because to be honest, the answer the priest. I mean, when you came to the priest, you was at what level at that point? At Bruiser's level, or what you think his level is? Like, what level were you at when you came to the priest?
when I came to him, I was at the level of asking questions, and I knew a little bit about small things, like you said about what I
So you feel like you was at like a bruiser level?
I do. I really do.
So hear me out. If you was at a bruiser level, that question, the answer that priest gave you was deeper than I wouldn't have gave the one I gave bruisers.
You, I don't think it
So
is.
what are you talking like? What, like that was that he gave you a super deep
It
answer,
depends on the
and
priest, though.
and from that deep answer you figured it out because why? Because you wanted to.
Okay.
He doesn't want to. Because I gave him less than what the preacher gave. I said, bro, observing you. This the thing. If you watch the show that just came by, they asked the same question, and the new people on the show said the same thing. And my brother was up there. He's a Muslim, devout Muslim. He said, without Islam, I would pay attention to the observable universe because truth is universal. See, when people say a bunch of stuff, but they don't really respect words.
Have you ever heard somebody say, watch animals to understand how we should be? Have you heard
Here we go. Here we go with the animals.
I gave them that was an example. I said, listen, back in the day, I gave them an example. I see, first of all, like I was talking about, the observable universe. Universal truth, people don't know what that actually means. They don't realize that universal truth is saying that if you pay attention to the universe, the truth from how it naturally goes will unfold life for you. So I said back in the day, they used to have these shows on PBS where they would say that the ancient, they would say study life, to study the ant, study the antelope. Like that's just a general example of if they had nothing, they would just observe their immediate reality to find their place in it. That's not profound or deep. It's just that it requires the person to do more inquiry on their own, which these people will make mad excuses not to do. So where does the answer lie? In asking you a bunch of questions, and it removes the responsibility of inquiry and on their own. These people are just not scholastic. I've just come from the train of thought that when you're talking in front of people about real life, that it's when it comes to our people, when you're talking to any people specifically, it has to encompass a lot of trains of thought. You want to have an understanding of economics. You just want to be sound in different conversations when speaking to Black people about sensitive topics that are directly affected by these historical events and political and social events. Our relationship dynamic is a product of systematic events. The availability of Planned Parenthood, the misinformation at the church, the malnutrition at the local restaurants made by these corporations, the soft drinks, all that stuff affects your mind to even deal with a person, let alone do it off bad information and don't have money. And like all of that is a gumbo of dysfunction. So if you're going to talk to those people, who the fuck got time to wipe your spit and make sure you wipe your ass and put your diaper on? You already decided to jump out there to talk as if you're some authority on the social results of our people. You need to know something. Period.
So I'm gonna say this one thing I learned in my spiritual travel through the Orisha tradition is that when they say put the honey ahead of the rat's head before you put it in someone's mouth. And I think you know what that means. It's a bitter pill that somebody's about to swallow. But if you want them to swallow it without you doing a lot of work and getting frustrated, you got to put something on that. And I've had that lesson recently. Okay. But that's a reality that happens when your purpose is to educate and you know who you talk.
But I gave him the honey. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord, help! Wait a minute.
I gave him the honey when I told him. I said beyond belief. I said this. I said, yo, we need to move beyond belief. We need to get to a point where we be like, hey, bro, we may not agree, but you still my brother. Hey, sister, we may not agree, but you still my sis. Hey, sister, I said that.
You said that there's something missing right there, and it's still
what's missing from that?
Illa, I think she's speaking to like maybe your overall delivery of
No,
what you're putting out
not
there.
just that.
No,
Not just
like
that.
just that. Okay.
Not just that, it was the fact that it was said about the observation of animals, and I know where everybody's mind went. Everybody's mind didn't go to all of the good things that we extract from animals that are good, not the things that we cannot extract from them that don't apply to us. People say, well, what's wrong with taking another man's wife? Lions do it all the time, like, like, and they're
Mm.
not sinning. Like,
I
this
mean,
is
because
where your
people are
mind.
extremists.
So, but here's the thing. This is the audience. This is the audience right here. People who, when you say, well, let's learn from animals, and then we look at the animal kingdom, and a lot of it we can't take for ourselves, but some of it we can. For instance, bears. We learn a lot of good things about bears, right? But we also learn that they don't travel in packs, and they definitely don't do two-parent households, unlike penguins. So, like, what are we to make of the animal kingdom, where some can operate without being in a family or a pack, and other ones are solo, and some of them are basically single parents mating with each other every couple of years. Like, what are we to make of the animal kingdom and ourselves, for instance, sexually, like that, when we have rules on the quote unquote books that say thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife, let alone touch your neighbor's wife, let alone rape your neighbor's
That's
wife
that's
and pay
because
50
hold on.
shekels.
That's because things haven't hit the fan yet. When it hit the
Yeah,
fan, we may go to the animalistic qualities. You know what I mean? It
that
hasn't hit the fan yet. And when that real shutdown happened, we gonna see how human all of y'all are. Cause it's gonna happen. Trust me.
okay, when we get there, then we'll get there. But my and I'm not saying that what Illa is saying is incorrect. What I'm saying is I'm looking at it from the perspective of me when I was at a certain stage, and how my mind couldn't conceptualize, well, if there's no rules, how do we know what's wrong and what's right? Is there such thing as wrong or right? What is sin?
Mm,
What isn't sin?
mm.
Why do we believe in a thing called sin? And why is that so intrinsically connected to something that we can't see, that we believe we will see when we are literally dead? Like, where
I
does this?
mean, all that stuff you're saying is something that requires the person to study. Like you going people gonna ask me a million questions, and I'm gonna give them the same answer because you're gonna have a million questions when you don't know shit. Respectfully, and that's the point. Once upon a time, our people were being studious is a regular trait.
Mhm.
People, when I remember, I worked at a school in New Jersey. Brooke Shields went there. I forgot it was it's a boarding school from like fucking like first grade to the high school to like 12th grade, like shit like Hogwarts or some shit in fucking maybe what was it, Inglewood, New Jersey? I think it was up there. They had a collection in their library for kids called books your parents don't want you to read.
Mhm.
Mm.
Reading and being interested in obscure, uh, inquisitive information is normal. It's not something that needs to be treated with kid gloves to people who are always professing where they're at in life. Like I'm thinking about the nature of these. It's not like we talking to people who like, hey Illa, brother, can I just they coming in with all this and that and all of that and don't be knowing shit. I mean, that's just what the truth of the matter is. And you say you're speaking for the people, but the people could speak for themselves because when you look at because we can't hear what everybody thinks. So the most we can get is the comments. Yeah, you're gonna have some detractors, but most people get it. And when you look at the people who do get it, they're very expressive in their reasons why. The people who don't or just say some negative shit or just reaffirm the Bible. But when you see people who understand what I'm saying, they be texting paragraphs. They be going in and elaborating. So you judge a tree by the fruit it bear. All them questions is gonna come with inquiry and reading. That's why I be giving people bodies of work to read. It's like you want to. People ask me, "What do you?" Basically trying to figure out why do you say this? Why do you feel like this? You ain't gonna know that shit because you don't know what I know. What
Okay.
you, my man? Hold on, my man gave me something the other day about neuroscience. Like two people never see reality the same way.
Mhm.
So life is only based on things that naturally just lock and connect with. Because no one's ever going to see things. No two humans ever see things the same way. So we could all, they say observable reality looks different to everybody. So
Mm.
literally we either get it or don't. That's literally the law of the universe. I can't answer everybody's question because no one's going to read. And the people who have read, they don't have them questions. And there's more of them than it is not. See, we get into a place of life where the universe is showing everybody what's what. Either you gonna that's standing too close to the whole shit, go for everything. You either get it or you don't. Motherfuckers are standing too close to motherfuckers who don't know shit. They just are successful. And successful is subjective to the scenario of the economics. Somebody who's successful could be unsuccessful in a year, 2 years from now.
Okay.
People are not learned, and they don't have a question for knowledge. And then when people speak adamantly and strongly on their knowledge, it disturbs them to the point where they gotta knock them down. Like, how you know that? Because I don't know that. You can know that though.
This is
Sis,
true.
let me say this real quick, sis. Let me say this real quick, and then after that, I'm gonna share what I'm saying. Then, sis, you share what you're saying. Then we're gonna get back to the video, right?
Yeah.
And yes, for any of y'all who have comments or you have questions, anything, remember this is a free environment. Share your perspective. You can even share scriptures at like what to watch on YouTube just shared, and I'll read that in a moment. But yeah, with that being said, I think what Ill is saying is true in this retrospect. At the fact where a lot of people are not intellectually sound, they're not doing research, they're not reading books, they're not doing any of that. There's so many adults I come across that don't read anything at all, and they're just going based on the word of man, or just based on what somebody else's perception of the Bible is, or just their own perception. And even then, they're not even digging in to figure out what translation in the Bible is actually correct, which ones actually come from who and where, and the things of that nature. A lot of y'all reading King James, and King James was super, super devious and evil. Just do your research on them, right? So it's a lot of things that we're not researching and we're not doing in order to find out the questions that we have. So I definitely agree with him on that. But then, based on that, because of that, that's why we do have so many questions. Because we're not doing the research, we're not reading, and we're not doing certain things that will give us that answer, right? That will help us to get to that point. But go ahead, Lola, it's on you, and then we're gonna get back to the video.
Well, I agree that most people do not read, and it's a strange phenomenon because about 500 to 4,000 years ago, 99% of the population was illiterate just because reading wasn't necessary when most people were doing farm work. It's only till recently that reading has become a necessity, honestly, because again, the functionality of religion was not necessarily about understanding history as much as it was about how it functioned in your everyday experience, which kind of harkens back to my belief that my experience is let's say never going to be trumped by anybody else's truth. I don't care where they read it at. I don't care how authentic the read was. My experience is my first and last truth. Now, unless somehow the person is talented enough to talk to me in a way that I can understand, that can have me look at my experience through a different lens to see something different. I know for me, I'm just as human as everyone else. If I experience something that seems real to me, you're not going to convince me I'm crazy unless you can help me understand why I'm not crazy, why that experience was real. However, like the old saying goes, all truths are but half truths. There's levels to this, and you will never really see the highest level, but you will be moving through it, and each level is a truth. It's not that you experienced the lie. That's not what that is. So this is where I feel like the questions are coming from. And in truth, people are not educated, right? And they are asking these questions. But like Illa alluded to, or he directly said, that if we're going to talk to the masses through this conversation, right, we have to consider the masses, not necessarily the person we're talking to. Like Bruiser is a person. He might be at a certain level because he might not read a lot. That might not be his thing. But the question of, if I didn't have religion, what would I have that would differentiate me from the average person, that let's say an average animalistic person that doesn't have any sense of anything? They're just there to survive like an animal in the jungle. What differentiates me from someone like that if I don't have religion? That's a legitimate question. That's not a question that says that you are unlearned or that you don't have the capability of learning. It just means that at this moment you're just not
That's
in a place to understand the answer to that in a sentence.
that's
And
not a legitimate question though. That's just a sign that people don't. It's like I'm saying, all these questions just shows it's because when you look at the comments, because you're saying because we don't have a gauge on what the people saying. So all we could say what you could say what bruisers might have felt and what you could imagine someone else felt. But all we have to conclude, for the most part, in a general sense, is the immediate comments for the people who felt compelled to share their opinion. And when you
Mhm.
look at the comments, you can see the mentality of the people commenting. You got people who just saying, fuck that shit, or who really express why they understand and agree. So the people who don't agree, there's nothing that's going to make them agree. Like, because you can tell by their answer based on how they respond, because most of them are responding to stuff that I never even said. It's just the fact that I'm questioning something that repulses them because I'm questioning their beliefs, which we just looked up.
Right.
Yeah, but when y'all keep talking about without religion, it just shows that we haven't understood that religion is not the monopoly on behavior in life. And I'm going to prove it. I have something I had on my page because, like I like to do all the time, is cite sources
Mhm.
because that's all we can do. We can sit here and talk about this and talk about that, but people have to cite a source so other people can make the information and make the word manifest.
Do you
So,
do you feel that you gave him enough in terms of sources and
no,
direct?
I definitely could have gave more,
Mhm.
especially this one.
Yeah.
But they got enough. But since you asked on his behalf, I'm gonna give it to you. So you are talking about basically how can one come to a civilized train of thought without believing that someone died for them. So let's look at what history says.
Of religion in general.
What I mean, but that's the main one. Like let's all be adults here. Most people who have these staunch issues with what do I should I believe in, more than likely are our brothers and sisters that are Christians of from the colonized perspective. Because we all know Christianity is also in Ethiopia. Yes, that's true. That does prove that black people started it. Yes, that's true. But the practice of their Christianity is nothing like the one we present. So it's like I get it. It makes sense in the argument. It justifies that it has a indigenous source because of course it does. Because the ways of peace and the ways of proper and upright character is synonymous with the indigenous people. Like my brother Monster said the other day on the show, it's not about a belief in God. We all know there's a God. But when you pick in a certain spiritual system, it has to be in a certain natural unison with your natural biorhythm. People just pick a religion based on what they family said or what is popular. It's not due to study because it's not about believing in. It's see people think learning about different religions is in their mind they equate that inquiry to I don't believe in God or not. It's all God. You have to figure out which message is truly the God of your spirit or just a God. Because the Bible says Satan comes in the form of an angel of light. And technically, all religions do. So that means you got to pick one. So the pick one got to come from study. But the nature of our people is peace. And I'm going to prove it. So this is from the book, The Iceman Inheritance, Prehistoric Sources of Western Man's Racism, Sexism, and Aggression. Page, this is Roman numerals. This is page 18. This is the excerpt of one of the priests traveling with Christopher Columbus on a third voyage, and he speaks about the countenance of the natives
I
when he
remember.
found them. This is prior to their conversion to the faith. This is how they was. He said early in the 20th century, the world began to witness the military rise. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Wrong one. Here it goes. It said there was a need to look at European racism and the opening up of the so-called New World. That's where we at right now. The best of the early recorded accounts come from Father Bartholomew de las Casas, who came to America on the third voyage of Christopher Columbus. Not the 30th, not the 50th, just the third. So this is like, they just got here. Remember that. Third voyage of Christopher Columbus. When Christopher Columbus noticed the rapid disappearance of the Native American over the time of his 3 visits, he would go to De las Casas and request that he petition the Vatican for an increase in the Atlantic slave trade with the pretense that this increase would save the souls of the Native Americans. De las Casas is considered the first historian of the New World. His account of mass murder and the disappearance of the natives of the New World, mistakenly called Indians, is entitled The Devastation of the Indies. A brief account was published in 1974. Father de las Casas' account of the islands of Hispaniola, which is modern-day Haiti and Dominican Republic, and the people he observed there is as follows. Drum roll, please. All the land so far discovered is a beehive of people. It is as though God had crowded into these islands the great majority of mankind. And of all the infinite universe of humanity, he's talking about the people he found in Haiti. He said, of all these infinite universe of humanity, these people are the most guileless, the most devoid of wickedness and duplicity, the most obedient and faithful to their native masters and to the Spanish Christians whom they serve. They are, by nature, the most humble, patient, and peaceable, holding no grudges, free from embroilments, neither excitable nor quarrelsome. These people are the most devoid of rancors, hatreds, or desires for vengeance of any people in the world. And because they are so weak and complacent, they are less able to endure heavy labor and soon die of no matter what malady. The sons of nobles among us, brought up in the enjoyments of life's refinements, are no more delicate than are these Indians, and even among them who are the lowest rank of laborers. They are also poor people, for they not only possess little, but have no desire to possess worldly goods. For this reason, they are not arrogant, embittered, or greedy. They were very clean in their persons, with alert, intelligent minds, docile and open to doctrine, very apt to receive our holy Catholic faith, to be endowed with virtuous customs, and to behave in a godly fashion. So, and I'm not finished, this is halftime. When they found these people devoid of a religion, they already were Christ-like. I'm going to continue. This is what they responded to these Christ-like people. When the Christians found these Christ-like people, this is what the Christians did. Yet, into this sheepfold, into this land of weak outcasts, there came some Spaniards who immediately behaved like ravening wild beasts, wolves, tigers, or lions that have been starved for many days. And Spaniards had behaved in no other way during the past 40 years down to this present time, for they are still acting like ravening beasts, killing, terrorizing, afflicting, torturing, and destroying the native peoples, doing all this with the strangest and most varied new methods of cruelty never seen or heard of before, and to such a degree that the island of modern-day Haiti, Dominican Republic, Hispaniola, once so populous, having a population that estimated to be more than 3 million, has now a population of barely 200 persons. This was this was on their third voyage here. So when people be asking me these questions, I'm giving you the answers when I give you the literature, because their questions is, why do you think that way? If you knew what I just read, that would give you an idea why I think that way. Because the information told me that without this belief, This is how we were.
Okay, so with that being the case, right, I'm familiar with that information, in terms of the first meeting of the indigenous people. However, from the conversation that you're reading, or let's say the literature that was written about the natives upon their first initial meeting of them and understanding that how they are already essentially spiritually where they feel that they were with their religion, yet they were devoid of their religion. The question isn't so much, well, in Christopher Columbus time, well, why is it that these people can operate without our religion? The whole world was operating without Christianity. That's why it spread, right? The question was, what are these people using? What are they? The question is, what are they using? If they ain't using our God, and our God's the quote unquote true God, what are they using to not be anything that they're not supposed to do, to be upright, quote unquote people? How did they get this way? That is the question that is subconsciously underneath of all of everything that you read, that somebody is saying, hey, I know what we got, and we thought that what we had was the truth. However, we just seen something that contradicted our baseline truth, that without this, there's no way to operate as an upright human being. Yet we find something different. I understand that.
But they never came. So I'm trying to understand. Like, what are you asking?
What I'm saying is that Christopher Columbus and the gang over there had the same question that Bruiser had.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Where did you get that? How did they have? They didn't have a question.
What you just read is them saying, "Hey, looking at these people and marveling over the fact that they're actually just
listen.
Regular people.
No,
because
listen.
The question
That's
is,
not
how
what
are
happened.
they like this without our religion? Not any.
No, he didn't. No one asked that question. You're asking that. That's not
Well,
what the
I'm not
text says.
saying that I'm not quoting them. What I'm saying is, if anybody comes to a new place and their biggest awe is, wow, they can operate without being Christian. That says, like you said earlier, the question tells you where somebody's mind is at. You're questioning, how can they exist without your truth, because you thought your truth was why you were existing that way.
But
question, which is why they're
you're conflating two things. You're conflating the account of people that's not even alive, who clearly is stating their perspective, with a panelist. And this is why what you're doing is not going to make too much sense right now, because what I read was the account of a priest.
Okay.
They're not coming there saying, wow, how can they thrive without us? They're not coming to learn from you. They coming to take you over. And another thing that you don't realize, you keep talking about they don't have a religion, because if they had a religion, he said they were very apt to accept our Catholic faith. If you have a religion, if I'm a Muslim, would I become a Christian? No. If I'm a Christian, somebody can reconvert me, but I already have one. They didn't convert from anything. They just was like that and say, oh, this is what you want? Okay, I guess we'll try this. And then they got killed for it.
Well,
they got used. I'm saying, but you're talking from a position. You got to listen to what you're saying. You keep saying they had the same question. They didn't have a question. They had a purpose. Their purpose was to convert these people to slaves through Christianity. They didn't come there and say, the priest is not speaking from Bruiser's perspective. He's saying that we're about to get crazy to people who are naturally they don't even know what they're about to deal with. They just naturally a good way. You think the European came to you because he believed that shit made you better? It was about converting you to being a subject to them. So you're basically assuming that's their question. They didn't have a question. They had a mission. It's called Manifest Destiny. Okay. He told you when they found them what they did.
Okay. So I'm not denying what their intention was.
But you gave them questions. You said they didn't have a question. Bruiser had a question. Okay. They had a purpose.
Okay. Bruiser asked you a question, right?
Yeah, he did. They didn't.
He verbalized the question. However, what you just read from the priest is the priest taking out of his time to marvel, literally. I'm going to use the word marvel at how these people were so moral And the fact that you're marveling at the fact that somebody just is existing, because it's not morality. They're not in the thick of things with people to understand their morality. That's not what they didn't know them people like that. They were marveling at the fact that these people are just existing regularly and they're not even praying to Jesus. So there's a mental block that happened there. Even though they came there to just take over the whole continent, they found that that question was on their mind, even if they didn't overtly ask anybody the question. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is this: I'm not negating the historicity of the fact that they came there and said, hey, in order for us to do what we need to do, we need to convert them. I'm not saying that. And I'm not even also saying that I agree necessarily that the natives didn't have religion. Like, I can't argue that they didn't have a religion
I mean,
because
but we can't argue that they did because that's not what was
I'm
said.
not
All we could do
arguing.
is argue what was actually stated. That's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying.
arguing. I'm not arguing what their religion is, but from what I do know, the natives here in the Americas were not like atheists, and they definitely wasn't all animists. And there was a
It's
lot
not
of
about being religious or atheist. It's just not everybody's not Christian. It's just Christianity wasn't the answer. We're not saying that you don't need a belief. So you got to believe in something. It's just that people think that the only belief is biblical Christian based. And for some reason, when people question Christianity in that base, people can't fathom it. And then when people who they ask these questions to, they say, hey, I know you feel that way. This is how you get to that answer. Nigga, you got to read. Because we're not questioning whether you need to believe in something. Obviously, you like we just explained the definition of belief. It's a thought. It's not even religious or faith-based. Most of the definitions, the word faith was mentioned once when we looked up the actual word belief. It was mentioned once. Let's read it again. An acceptance in something true or real, often without complete proof, and can be a conviction or just an opinion. It's a mental state of certainty, faith, or trust in an idea or proposition or person. They can vary based on sources, personal experience, family, education, and media. So it's not about they have belief. It's not defined to a religion. It just could be an idea. Yo, we just going to drink water and eat fruit. That's a belief. Like it's it don't have to be anything that have to do with the church. That's the point. So those questions that these people keep asking, because they want to know why I think that you can thrive without Christianity, even though there's other religions without Christianity. So it's not even about you can't live without religion. The argument is people can live without Christianity and some can live with it. We're not arguing whether you can believe in whatever, but the fact that that one is what most people believe exclusively, so adamantly, without any study, and it just so happened to be one that was brought to you through conquest. You don't think that requires any type of inquiry? That's weird. And if you keep asking people who've come to that conclusion, the best answer they could give you is scholarship. That's the best answer they could give you. It's reading. And nobody want to do it. They just want to ask a bunch of questions.
okay.
And I'm giving people the book.
Well, and that's the thing, right? When you're in
Lola,
these
let me know when you want me to get back to the video.
Okay, when you're in conversations with people like that and it's one-to-one and you don't have a whole lot of time to cite every source for every single thing that you mention, right? I do understand not mentioning a whole bunch of sources, but just mentioning enough that if someone's interested, they will go research that on their own, because we have that capability now. I do understand that. However, I do see the nuanceness in that question of how do and I don't believe that Bruiser was talking about Christianity, by the way. I think he was more so trying to broaden that spectrum.
He definitely was talking about Christianity.
I know he's Christian, but I think
No, but that's what he was talking about. Because if people are telling you simply that you can get close to God with other belief systems, what is the question? Because we're not denying God. I'm talking to these people. We would say stuff like, yo, there's multiple ways, there's other ways to find peace and to get to God. And what they hear is, so they will come back with a question like, so if we don't believe in God and the word of God and the life of Christ, how are we going to make it? That question is evidence they totally missed what I said before.
Mhm.
I just told this person that there's multiple ways to get to God is the main, is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is the connection to God.
Mhm.
I said there's other ways to get there. Their responses is, but what about your belief in God and the life of Christ? That's a mental issue.
It is a mental issue, but here's the reality. And I'm not knocking what you're saying about the reality, right? But when I speak to people, a lot of times when I know that they don't share my quote unquote faith, belief, perspective, culture, and I know that we don't share that, I don't speak as if they will understand. So a lot of times I will take the example of Jesus, where he spoke a lot of times in terms of wisdom to people that he knew could understand it, but to the masses, he spoke in the most rudimentary way he could find, literally. And it says that literally in the Bible. When
And but you're right. And when people ain't get it, he cast them the fuck out too. That's what I'm saying. Everybody not gonna get it. I ain't Jesus. I don't need everybody to get it.
You're not Jesus. But when
I don't need everybody to get it. Why you think they said when and the thing is, it's about an energy. You notice they always talk when Christ, because everybody like the Christ done came back. It's the energy. It ain't a person. It's a vibe. They said when he come back, he gonna come back with a sword. He not gonna be that friendly. So they wouldn't recognize it if it came anyway. All I'm saying is the perspective that you're speaking from ultimately is the staunch Christian.
I'm very far from Christian.
You're not, but you're speaking on their behalf because these are the type of questions they have. So, like you said, you speaking for the devil's advocate. It all coalesces. So yeah, that's them. That's how that's them questions. The only way you can fix.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying. Let me just say this, and then y'all can go back to the video.
Okay.
The only way you could deal with them people, because they never going to change their beliefs. The only thing I could convince them to do is read. Okay. Nothing else is going to suffice. Because that's how they. This the thing. That's how they got their first belief, through reading. They just only read one book. I can't change. No answer will ever suffice the people with that perspective. That's just going to go to another question. I focused on the ones who get it. It's never going to. The masses never do anything but follow. It's never masses that do anything but focus on individuals. Okay. I can't concern myself with what most people think. Everybody not going to understand everything I say. I watched a person from this space say "fuck Malcolm X" and nobody asked that nigga nothing. And he ain't give you they don't give you no info. Like, I'm giving people information. I'm not holding that shit. I'm not hoarding that shit. I'm literally saying, yo, read this book, bro. And niggas want to argue with me. And they ain't giving you nothing.
But see, that's not the, okay, that's
not the what?
That's the rat's head right there. And I understand that.
What's the rat's head?
The rat's head is the reading part, because keep in mind, Ella, if religion is not just what people believe, it is your identity, meaning the way you see your reasoning for being here, the where you at in the cosmos, in your mind is centered around what you believe, what is real to you when it comes to why you here and who put you here.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
Something deeper than belief systems.
Black people, yo, is gonna get left behind, yo.
No,
listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you. Other people understand. Other races understand this. They understand this.
Who understands?
And still have their religion. They understand religion and spirituality. They understand the use of. They know the difference. It's like our people just really, really. They got us good, bro.
What people are you referring to that understand, that has a religion but also has a separate spirituality from said religion, and they're thriving? What people is that?
Their religion, put like that, their religion is based on. Their religion doesn't close the door.
Who?
On Asians, Buddhists, Hindus. Like they can have. They have a greater a wider way of seeing certain things. Like it's not as binary as our people are with it.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? I just really believe that.
I love you. I know that the way they come off from a distance is one way, but when you
I'm not saying they perfect. We're not saying they better than us. We're not saying that. I'm just talking about in talking to these people. Like when I talk to, I'll talk to black people on these shows. I'll be trying to connect with black folk. When I talk to other races, they just have a different understanding sometimes of things. They put like this. Let me say this: they have a greater appreciation for scholarship, and it's not as foreign to them. It's just not. It's not that hard to like. I remember I met a. Listen, I give you just a true story. I was at I was in D.C. There's I think it's what street is that on South Dakota. There's this Asian dude. I think on South Dakota he got a mechanic spot. In there, he got his little Buddha and he got a plate with food and a Snapple. And I said, what's that? I said, you giving like I forgot the word I used, but I basically explained what that was. And he said, you understand that? I said, yeah. He said, you're not Baptist or Baptist? You're not Baptist Christian? I said, nah, man. He gave me a book. Once he realized my mind was I understood the concept, he didn't explain nothing. He gave me some literature. That shit is normal. When you out in the street, what do these Christians be handing you? Literature. Here, brother, read the Watchtower. Here, sister, I got the final call for you in the bean pie. That's all I'm doing. Literature is the answer. I don't know what year, what time period, when our people just turned into these people who don't know how to read, but I will never accept that because that's all I seen growing up. Take a look. It's in the book.
Okay, hold on, Illa. Here's the thing, I'm gonna disagree with you authentically on this point, which is most people that I know that were Christian, for instance, and Muslim and a few other religions. Okay, we ain't leaving them out. They did not deconvert because they read other material or they had any history in terms of college, or they went and did their own reading, or they hung out at everyone's place.
Who told you to deconvert?
Hold on. They deconverted because somebody came to them and said, let's reread what we already have read. This one little ass book, whatever we call it. And trust me, several religions, ain't 1, 2, or 3. And they said, let me show you a different perspective on what you thought that was in there. That you were just told, because like you said, people learned Christianity first by reading it. That's not true. Not 90% of Muslims in the quote unquote Muslim world have never read the Quran, but they all
have no proof of that. That's your opinion. You have no data to prove that 99% of them didn't read that. You can't prove that.
Hold on,
you can't prove that.
I spent almost 20 years in Orthodox Islam. Okay, I understand what that culture is and where it comes.
That's not provable.
That is not something that's not provable. If you've been in any,
so let's for the record, this is the intellectual soapbox, right? So we intellectuals. Let's get intellectual. So let's get intellectual. So you mean to tell me that it's a fact? I just want this on the record because this is the intellectual soapbox. You putting on a record that 99% of people in the whole religion haven't read it. You putting that on the record?
I didn't say 99%, and I didn't say everyone in the religion.
You just said.
Let me be clear with you about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the Middle East, where people around Mecca, Medina, all of that. Okay, when it comes to Muslims over there, most of them are Muslim because their mama was Muslim and their daddy was Muslim, and they got a Muslim name.
That's not the argument.
A lot of them are not.
It's not intellectual. You're just rambling.
I know that you read, but I need you to.
No, it ain't about reading. You not making sense. You jumping all over the place.
You don't think what I'm saying makes sense for the same reason.
It's not making sense.
Don't think what you said makes sense because it's not in his experience.
I guess.
And that's fine. But what I'm saying is just listen to me, because at the end of the day,
you got to stand on what you just said. You said 99% of Muslims don't read it. That's what you said. You said their parents made it.
I did not say 99%, and I'm trying to clarify. I'm trying to clarify for you. The majority of Muslims, self-proclaimed Muslims in the Middle East specifically, are not Muslim because they spent any amount of time reading and studying and then coming to the conclusion that Allah is one. Okay, like that is not how they became Muslim. They were born into a Muslim family, and a lot of them, okay, truth be told, if you understand, did not take Shahada. They've just been Muslim because that's just how they grew up. They did not do what quote unquote black people do, which is you read the Quran front to cover, you learn the language, you sit and you go to the classes, then you come back, you get your dress together, you stop your eating, you make sure your Shahada is sincere and that you have a whole turn lifestyle. Like that, that's not the circumstance over there. Over there, it's just a cultural function. in terms of what their identity is. It is not their spirituality and only their spirituality. That is not what that is over
Because
there. So
spirituality is personal. They practice it the right way.
I'm not judging how they practice it. I'm just saying
but that
that
doesn't.
a
What
lot
does
of
that
them.
mean? That
What
doesn't
from
mean
my
they not
experience.
sincere with it.
Wait a minute. I'm not talking about
You
nobody.
talking about?
I'm not talking about their sincerity. What I'm saying is I have met too many people that are self-proclaimed Muslims from the Middle East that literally cannot quote you basic things if it ain't in their nighttime prayers. That is what I'm talking about. I have debated scholars. I have debated people from the Middle East. I have seen my own people, Muslims from Philadelphia, okay, literally sit here that just came out of jail that knew more than somebody that grew up in it for 50 years in the Middle East. So what I'm telling you is that when you said people learn religion through reading, that is not the case. A lot of people get their religion just from the culture of being around people that have a certain belief. That is not their read, which goes to the point that when you reread certain material from a different perspective that you thought you knew, this is why you can gain better insight when you read it from more than just trying to understand the Bible from a spiritual standpoint or trying only to see it from a literal standpoint. Like, you can learn that, but you're not learning that from reading a whole bunch of books necessarily. A lot of people didn't go through that level of scholarship to deconvert or convert to something else. That's not what that is. That's people just don't do that. And let's say people just don't do that at a high degree. Some people have, like, if you're really into scholarship, sure, you're going to read until you can't read no more about something before you change your mind about your beliefs. But most people, they don't convert to anything when they're babies. They're just growing up and just accepting beliefs because that's their parents. And this is just kind of like what it is. Like, for real, it's only in the Black community that we tell our children, I don't care how old you is, you're going to accept Jesus overtly when you turn a certain time, and you're going to like profess and go through all of this extra spiritual, let's say, hierarchy. Whereas that's not necessarily the case where I see other people. So when you talk about Asians and saying that how their religion kind of allows them to read, like,
No, I said they have an appreciation for scholarship. When I met one,
family, hold on, everybody, hold on 1 second. We are hour and 30 minutes in. So what do y'all want to do? Am I dropping?
Okay, I'll let it go. I'll let it go. You can read it up because it's not that long, and I think you should finish.
Okay,
but
drop the link. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link.
So you
y'all
can
can
finish it. But I want you to understand, like, I don't disagree with you on the facts of the matter.
I mean, you could disagree.
I
just feel like it's just
disagree on the facts, but the truth is, right, sometimes the truth ain't just about the facts. Sometimes it's about, if you understand somebody has a limitation, you got to speak to them based on that limitation. You can't do, if your goal is what it is, but see, you made it clear your goal wasn't to speak directly to Bruiser. Your goal was to speak to the broader network of people that can understand that level of information and wisdom in that moment. But my thing is, as I'm watching that exchange between you and him, I could see how there were some gaps in what he had said, his understanding, and then the information that came to him. I could see why what you said is true, but I could see how it could leave gaps in his understanding.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but when you brought up all these other people, you brought up these races. Islam is what they're doing. It's not what our people don't realize we naturally spiritual and more serious. So we're going to do that anyway. It's a fact that their Islam is moving them towards a unified political life. We just believe in stuff, but it's not changing our life. We're not moving on an economic accord. I mean, you got the Nation of Islam. They kind of have a system like that going, but I don't see too much of that in the people that are so-called believers. It just be an individual lifestyle. But I'm just talking about appreciation for scholarship.
With Sunnis?
Huh?
Do you think the Nation of Islam here in America would ever be at open war with the Black Sunni community?
I mean, no, probably not, because their faith is all Muslim. But what I'm saying is this:
but you do see that in Asia, right?
You say I see what?
We do see exactly that in Asia, right?
What's going on in Asia? Black Muslims are getting killed by white Muslims?
No. I'm not even classifying them on race at this point. Those people over there, with their religious beliefs, they all got different sects, and they all literally kill each other over there over the differences of their religion along political lines.
You making my point. I'm not advocating for religion. Every time this is what I'm this what
Have a
but
better.
I'm not advocating for religion.
You
You
said
like you brought you listen, y'all you brought up this man's perspective, and I said to answer those questions, one has to read. And then when I brought up the fact that when I talk to other cultures, they have an appreciation for scholarship. Now you're telling me about how religion is damaging, but you're defending a religious person just to ultimately talk about the damages of religion.
no,
It's
I'm
not
not.
about religion. I'm just telling people that the questions you have about life can be best answered with a point in the direction of knowledge. Because if I'm giving you an answer, because it's not like they questions not getting answered, they are. But you have to move the conversation forward. So I'm gonna answer it. You don't understand it, yo, bro. Check this out. Because somebody on other people on the same panel get it. It's funny. The women got it. The men was acting like they ain't know what's going on. Ironically, but it's like at some point, like the conversation has to move forward because the questions you have ultimately are gonna get answered from reading. And you brought up how most people join religions because they just told to. Yeah, but religion still comes with literature. And people may not read it, but literature is still a requirement for existence. That's the problem. Whether people pick the book up or not, that's their choice. But every doctrine comes with a book. It comes with some literature. You can read it or not. That's your ignorance, but it comes with it, which means it's a part of it, which means literature and literacy is a part of existing. That's not nothing that needs to be coddled. You could buy a fucking TV. That shit gonna come with a booklet. Like I'm not this shit ain't that complicated to me. This
Well,
is a part of reality and existence. You want these deep questions about life and culture, then you want to read, bruh.
okay, Illa, it's not that complicated to you. That is correct. But
All right, I'll give up. You right, you got it.
is that complicated to somebody else, right? Maybe you're not the
Then
one.
people, then them, guess what? Then those type of people don't need to be waving their finger at people every day on the internet. That those two things don't correlate.
Okay.
That don't correlate. Can a person who's homeless or a person who's poor as fuck sit there and tell you how you I mean they can give you a tip here and there, but can they make a living off of talking about how you can make money with people like and put like this, not even talk about making money, but go back and forth and argue with people about um ain't no way you can make money in this country. It's impossible. You can't make no money. You can't get no job. You can't do that. It's like, yo, bro, I got a job. Man, ain't no such thing as no unemployment. Ain't no such like it don't make sense. Like if you're not gonna do what it takes, then don't why are you about to argue with somebody if you're not gonna do, if you're not well versed on these things? You're talking about how people's minds work, how they react to relationships, love, God, and haven't read nothing. Don't even address these people and beyond the religion shit. They be conservatively waving their finger at you, talking about what you ain't got. And it's like I just don't think people that feel like that, if they do feel like that, you should have more in your arsenal than just opinions and talking points
And
and a bunch of questions.
I can agree with that. But what I will say is in my understanding of like where I'm at, I've learned to leave people where they at. Don't try to make people come up from where they at, because where they at is where they supposed to be
But
at.
they come at me if I leave him where they at. He was where he was at.
I
He
get
was
it.
in the chat and he came up to the link and started asking questions. I left him right where he was at. He came up there.
Oh, Illa, you are somebody that would that does. You're like that shining light that people just gotta ask questions from because of how you come off, because of what you
But
know.
some people want to ask questions and some people want to make a moment with you. And I know the difference because
Okay,
I've been around a lot. Not to be funny, because I don't brag. I don't be trying to boast or nothing. People provoke me to, but I really don't. But I've been around more people than a lot of these same cats that swear they got more shit over me. And they understand me. And I've communicated with a lot of people. I worked in education. Like I'm an excellent communicator. I judge people by their spirit. Fuck what you talking about. We could be here all day. What you talking about? I'm looking at your intentions. I'm looking at your spirit. Cause things got a little hot with us, but it's all love. It ain't get to that because you don't mean well. You're being strongly objective because you're trying to pull out information. I respect it, but some of them people really be trying to play me. And I ain't letting them do it. So and I'm still saying, hey, brother, let's fuck it. Believe what you want to believe. I'm advocating for us to find unity despite that. And they still, not only are they forgetting that I said that, they don't even want to look up what I referred to them.
Well,
I just, my mind just don't work in a way where that makes sense to
Well,
me.
Illa is. Let me ask this, right? So, if for us to really get that unity that you speak of, right, what would be required? You know what I'm saying?
Get what would I speak of?
the unity
So,
without
you saying unity within our community, right? You know what I mean? Because I believe for us to truly be united, we got to get rid of some people. You know what I mean? On both sides, on other culture side, and even within our own culture, some people got to go, right? Whether physically or whatever else. So, what do you believe will help us to be unified as a people?
We have to realize that we've all been attacked from all sides. We got to look at the good in people that look like us. I mean, of all people, ultimately. But we have to stop being so divisive. Oh, they African. Oh, they Jamaican. Oh, they people of color that went through colonization. You are if you ain't bound by nothing else, because people will bring up certain arguments, FBA, different things, all like that, and people know. Well, I don't know. If people do know, but I'm an American Moor. Like I'm a Moor. I'm not. That's what I am, and that's that. But people of color, I think we all Moors personally, but people don't feel that way. I think we all need to look at each other as going through the same thing, and we need to put our differences to the side because America, the adjoining islands, Africa, we need to figure out a way to work together somehow. I don't think I don't. I feel like what's the purpose of bringing up the problems if we're not gonna move past them? Like if once you're aware of the problem, this the inevitability has to be conclusion to some type of solution. If not, then we just talking just to be talking. If you could say, hey, African, y'all come over here and do this bullshit sometimes, man, it be fucking us up politically. It be fucking us up in economics. What's up with that? What's up when y'all be saying this shit? What's up with that? Blah, 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 blah. That's fair. It's true.
it's fair, but
The
people
African,
it a round race. They've
it's,
always
it's, it's fair. But then the Africans say, but hey, man, it wasn't always like that. Sometimes we come over here and we be cool, and then you say this. You beat up my kid because he ain't have on the Jordans. I seen that shit. Like I seen people get beat up just for being foreign. Like I grew up, like people forget about them 90s, them 80s and 90s. It wasn't that it was hard for everybody. If you was just dark skinned in some areas in America, you was the African booty scratcher. If you just was dark and from here. So imagine being an African coming over here and it's like, damn, I really am an African. So I'm really gonna like I seen one of my best friends is Liberian. And I'm the first person that befriended him in America. Everybody else teased him. We friends to this day. So I'm not saying that's everybody's story, but it is a story. So I feel like we need to be trying to figure out ways to really join and lock arms with all our people all over the world because we are a global people. We are a global presence. The whole world is drawn to us. It's just like what you're telling me. Hey, Illa, you the light people want to ask questions. Black people, if America is the light, period.
so
We need
we're
to do that rat theory you talking about with the world, with especially with our people. But ultimately, I ultimately still believe like we have to take time to learn things, not to discard your belief, but to just get to your belief should take you to knowing. And that knowing should be knowing that you are connected to God at all times, even when you make a mistake. Like it's just the beliefs I think really hold us back. Like it really holds us back in how we look at life. It's like, yo, we are that thing. Like we don't have to believe it. We gotta know it. I just think we gotta move into knowing more than believing.
and I agree. However, I'm very realistic with my expectations of people that I don't control. But I'll say this: I don't know about other parts of the country, but I know about here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. The Islamic community specifically and the Christian community amongst Black people do a lot of business together. Okay, like right, my father and my mother are staunch Christians, but they have their favorite Islamic stores that they support faithfully. Okay, like seriously. Same thing on my end. All through the spectrum. So
That's
there, I
beautiful.
I have not seen where there has been this rift valley between black people working together. Let's say in terms of enterprise over religious lines. I have seen that in other communities, mainly the Asians, but not amongst us.
But that's beautiful. You're proving that it can be done. And
Correct.
that's what I'm saying, because historically, that's how it really went for real. Like everybody, it was Muslims, Christians, and Jews. At least the the black ones. They used to Muslims used to help church Christians build houses of worship. They never was on some you got to be like us. Like these religions have coexisted in periods when, ironically, when we was in power. Ironically, that's what I'm saying, because Muslims consider Christians people of the book. The concept is the same. What changes the custom, the rituals, the nuances of their fraternal aspects of it. But the belief in God is the belief in God. So you making my point. You're showing me that people can move beyond belief. But you know why a lot of Muslims and Christians work together? Most Christians and Muslims I know that are able to see the other one's view are well read. Like they are. Because they've read something that showed them that what they are on, I'm really on too. And I separate the colonial dogma from the concept of the oneness that we are both aspiring to be, which is peace. Those people, most people, I mean, you always got anomalies, exceptions to the rule, who just like their business. But a lot of Christians who are very cool with Muslims, or can understand, because would it be real beautiful is when you can see them pray together. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Because it can be done, basically. You just prove that it can be done.
And that's what I'm saying. I am not one that believes really that religion is the problem. My personal belief, okay, is that people's lack of observation of their religion is really the problem. If all Christians act like Jesus and all Muslims actually act like Muhammad was their example, we wouldn't really have the problems that we have, even with all of the colonialism that then happened through both of those major religions, as well as Judaism, by the way. I don't believe we would have problems today, not in terms of the historical issues, but today, I think our community would be in a better place, at least individually within ourselves, if everybody just did and abided by what they say they believe. Now, if they don't believe in that and they believe in something else or a mix, that's fine. But at least be honest with yourself first. That's my personal belief, which is why I would disagree about, well, the religious piece being an issue and people need to leave their religion so that the black community can come up. I don't believe the black community needs to have less religion. In fact, there's a square, and you know what I'm talking about, in Europe, where people get together and just argue about religion in this park square. I forgot the name of it. In Europe someplace. It's amazing because all people do from all different walks of religions come there and just argue about different facts about religion and stuff like that. And I have learned a lot about religion and religions that I really don't know enough textually about, just from seeing the back and forth there. So I don't think that the arguing and the questions between ourselves about the different religions and what have you is a bad thing. I think iron sharpens iron. But in reality, if your concern is about, well, how do we move from here, I think in respect to what you've spoken about, or what you speak about in a lot about relationships working through different religious perspectives. I mean, a lot of friends of mine who are Christian are now dating Muslim men. I've seen an uptick of that. I know not too many statistics are taken on that, but I have seen that in my whole life.
I mean, because for real, it's like, I mean, because it's not about religion that people need so much. Because the only people that understand religion are who really practice it are spiritual people. People are religious, they're not spiritual. The spiritual part is personal. Religion is, I'm going here, I'm wearing this,
It's about rituals.
I'm eating this,
Right.
I'm saying this. That's not spirituality, though.
That's what I mean.
Spirituality is a walk that religion can help you get there, but it don't necessarily, it doesn't guarantee your path there. Spirituality is something you have to decide to want to be, and that's being very aware, a higher sense of the undercurrents in verbal exchange, body language. Like it's deeper than like I said. All I can that's the beautiful thing about these panels. What I don't got, somebody else might got.
Mhm.
I don't have all the answers. Somebody else. So it's 7, 8, 9 people on the panel. So it's
I
something that they can get from everybody.
yeah,
Your
that's
brother Illa is saying, "Hey, I believe you have a beautiful mind. I think you are the most influential, most creative, most coolest, most flyest people on the planet. I don't think suggesting you to just open up your scope of information is going to kill you. You ain't got to read every damn thing, but check something out. That's my advice. And then
right.
take that advice and add it to what Bruiser suggests for you to do, whatever that is. Take his advice and put it a little bit of this one on it. Just add a little all this gumbo of perspective and find yourself.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was referring to. Speaker's Corner, in was it Hyde Park, London. It's a 1872. Woo, okay. That's what I was referring to. That right there, like when they started recording that, and I came to understand. I was like, wow, this is like phenomenal right here. But I agree, spirituality can be gotten to through religion, right? But religion is not
But you can
spirituality.
still get the spirit. This is the thing. Religion can help you get the spirituality, but you can still get the spirituality without religion. That's a fact.
That is a fact. But I'll say this: I think your role and this is just my thought. Okay, it's not a fact, but I think that your role in reality when you show up, right, might be more of an authoritative role in terms of when you present, right? You present as somebody that's authoritative on facts. You see what I'm saying? And that is necessary. However, I think everybody plays a role. So where you might play that factual, straightforward line role, um, oh, energy moves in a straight line and in a wave. It's not just one. So it's like I have to give credit where credit is due, but I also have to make sure that I say a word straight. That if that were me in the conversation on that panel, right, I would have taken a whole different approach simply because I can sense, because I've seen a few other people up there that I know what kind of like religious background they are, and it is a bit of an extreme for me. I would have spoken maybe a bit more in a language that they can understand. For instance, when I speak to Christians, I generally use facts that I can prove my point from within their frame of reference within Christianity, and words that they understand within that framework.
I mean, I use words they understand. Like I
But
come, I have I'm very. I didn't talk. I could talk about anything. Like I don't have a one track. I just always refer back to self knowledge. But
yeah, you
we
do
can
that.
sit. I don't need no book to explain nothing I'm talking about. It's just that when you're talking about you're talking about the past.
You talking
When
about
you start
history?
talking about the past, you gotta know what you're talking about because it happened already. We can't go back. We could talk about something that might happen tomorrow because we all can see like things that happened already that came to conclusion. That has to come to a conclusion. We can't just throw shit in the air.
Right.
So
When
it be
yeah,
a certain topics we talking about. But in
right.
that same conversation, I was quote when they the word like
You
people be assuming you can't assume for everybody. Like you, it's obvious he didn't get it because he didn't want to get it. But everybody didn't feel that way. The
I
women didn't feel that way. I've been contacted by, oh, I love what you're talking about. Like
women
people understand what I'm talking about.
are these
What it
black?
looked like on the screen ain't always what it looked like in reality.
Uh-huh.
Everything ain't what it seemed. That's why people need to eat the meat and spit out the bones because everybody not gonna make you feel great and everybody not gonna make you feel bad. It's people can feel how they want to feel. I ain't saying fuck you stupid bat motherfuckers. Sometimes I get annoyed, but I'll be coming with I love y'all. I always be coming with love. I always be coming with empathy. People hear passion because I know when somebody playing with me, but I'll be coming with love. I come with peace, and people just be playing because it's a game. It's not people are performing intelligence on these shows. It's a
This
performative act. I'm looking smart. I'm talking smart. They're not really that smart, but they be talking down to people like they smarter than people. I don't do that.
I know you don't do that. However, that
But
does.
people treat me like I do. They be coming at me like that's what I'm doing. When you talking to people who going out their way to literally misinterpret you over and over and over and over and over. They ignoring the fact that you're saying, hey, regardless of what we think, we still can communicate. Hey, I said this on the show. I'm hungry. You hungry. You want to eat. I want to eat. You want love, respect. I want love, respect.
Let's start there. Them niggas still want to argue after somebody say that. Maybe y'all want to keep going back and forth and pontificating. I don't.
Okay, I think okay. So that's I guess I can't say it enough that the point.
But I'll put in a good word for Lapeef and see, you know, maybe you can go up there. You can show him how you would do it. But that's how I do it.
He said, "If I go up there, sure."
I mean, you just said, "Hey, if I was there, I would do it." I'm gonna see if you can do that. You can do that.
Well, okay,
You can do it too.
Maybe
You
what
can do it.
maybe I should
Ain't
say.
nothing to it. I'll put in a good word for you. You know what I'm saying?
Rodo,
That's just how I do it, though.
Okay, and I will, but Rodo, I'm gonna let you go, and I'll just say that I think that there's always an opportunity to expand and go into places that we haven't been in before, and I think you can agree that some of our conversations on these panels amongst Black people getting redundant in terms of what we can't do with each other conversationally, and then we try to move into maybe like business, but then we forget that we're people and that we are people first on the inside and then we are people on the outside. So when
that's all I've been kicking since I came into space,
based on who they really are on the inside, not their business model. And so at the end of the day, when I'm in a conversation with someone like that and they ask what I believe is a question that is a bit more nuanced for me to explain to them before I say something that I know they ain't going to understand. And I know that it's just going to be taken to a level where more people may hear them and then become more confused. I would rather cut the conversation there and refer them to another conversation I've had, or just have the conversation later. Because I know, here's the thing, I'm not a part of anybody's specific spiritual order. Okay, what I do, trust me, in the Bible, I could get killed for. But at the end of the day, I am careful how I come to these conversations. And a lot of people, and Mr. Best, know I got my nickname on here because people saw me as a whole threat for just saying basic things. Like, did you know that the concept of heaven and hell, you know where I was going with that. So it's like just basic things. And it was rattling them, and they called me the dragon, literally meaning the devil for them. Now I understand what they mean by that, and I understand where that comes from. I don't take it personal. But it's like I understand that whenever you're ripping something from someone that's intrinsically a part of who they are, it's going to cause pain. So when you do something like that, you're in a position of power, and you should do it with a lot of care. You would not want a surgeon ripping out any of your organs without an amount of care before they did it.
but I ain't ripping out their organs. It just
you ripping out every damn thing. You ripping out every motherfucker.
It just feel like it. But what I'm doing is expanding. It's like they holding an accordion. They don't realize, this shit make a noise when you pull it out. And oh shit, it's an accordion. You thought it was a bookcase. You thought it was a bookend. It's an accordion. You gotta open it. So I'm taking what they're into, what they think they know, and I'm trying to help them and at least attempt to show them, listen, you may not know it, but there is a little more expansion to this.
I know you know that, but like when the comment where it was talked about late, I think it was a couple of minutes after you and Bruiser, where somebody had made the statement about marriage not existing before the Bible was written in the 7th century or something. I don't know, like that. And nobody said that if you read Genesis, it'll tell you that, Abraham, for instance, was married before he was called.
But remember what we said about words earlier?
Talking about here. But I'm just saying, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, people that don't understand basic stuff like that is listening. It's in conversations, or maybe not even conversations. They in the audience listening to people like you that's not going to speak on a certain level for them to come up, and they have to make sense of that in a short amount of time. My thing is, I care about that leveling, whereas someone in your position may only really serve the purpose of operating at a certain level. Me, I like to deal in the basics. I like to deal in the higher level stuff, but I always keep in mind that at some point I was lower than Bruiser at some point in terms of my knowledge. I was. And I remember those moments. I remember those dark moments where like I was really, really lost. And like for some reason I heard a voice one day, and for some reason I was just interested in it, not for any particular reason. And I feel like it saved my life, but it was from a man that in a spiritual system that I'm not a part of and won't ever be a part of. But he literally taught me about me through that. So I have a different perspective, but my perspective has made it weird. So I can't come to a conversation like what you had on the P and just say certain things and not know that, okay, this, it might be basic for me, but I'm not about to introduce that to the masses, because like Jesus, he was very careful with what he said.
And I was careful too. I'm talking to grown ass men. None of the women felt like none of that.
His homies,
All these we talk about grown ass men. Not even all of them. One of them.
okay.
So one grown man who went to the military, who, when we talking about a grown man who went to the military, who said that God don't want us to be free or liberated on this planet, but got the money pill on his profile. He got the money pill on his profile, but when I said we should live fruitful and more abundantly, he said, I don't think that's in plan for God. God don't want us. It's not about being free or liberated or having 40 acres and a mule. I don't think that's what God wanted for us. He wanted us to have it after life, but you got the money pill on your page.
Wait a minute.
You talking about that person.
Wait,
So we talking about, I'm saying these are the facts.
Look, I know what you're saying, but why is it Creflo Dollar
Let
don't?
Rhonda get in there, y'all, whenever y'all can. Let Rhonda.
You said why what?
Why Creflo Dollar don't agree with Bruiser?
What you mean why he don't agree with Bruiser?
Creflo Dollar don't believe that that Jesus taught that you should not be wealthy.
But you missing a point. You missing a point. Listen.
Everybody don't
Listen.
agree.
No, listen, please. Bruiser don't believe that. Money Pill is on his page. So that means he just talking. And that's what I be trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. Because you're trying to make it seem like, oh, people could take that. But I don't show every message I get. People DM me long message, yo, bro. I really appreciate. So you telling me how somebody negative might look at me, but people directly telling me how they positive feel about me. So what am I supposed to do? Focus on the people who got something negative to say, or realize that whatever I'm saying is being reached to who is supposed to be reached to?
No, it's definitely reaching you.
I can't get everybody I'll be telling on the same show. I'm saying, yo, bro, I love y'all, bro. It's about love. It's about love. Love is the answer. You talking about honey? I literally told these people love is the answer. They like, nah, fuck that. Do you believe in Jesus? That's what they telling me. I'm telling them love is the answer. Love your brother regardless of what you believe.
You should have said, yeah, I believe in Jesus, and move that shit right through Jesus.
You do that.
I did actually listen.
But that don't mean it's better or more effective. It's just your way. It's just your way. It ain't better or effective. Mine is not better or effective. You here to reach who you reach. I'm here to reach who I reach. It ain't no contest.
Go ahead, Rondo. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rondo.
Yes.
Don't act like this. Lord help, please.
In the building. Lord of the ruler. The superpower is here, guys. The superpower is here. No need to fear. All right. What we said a lot of real stuff, right? I do believe that black people have became stagnant because they use religion as control centers of the soul. And that's not the ultimate goal that people need to do. First off, they separate God, science, and math. No, God, science, math, nature, and us, innate in nature ourselves, are all in allegiance to one another.
Exactly.
And that's the part that I'm trying to get people to understand. So yes, even though we got different facets of life, that's why, even though I claim to be more Hebrew, more so than anything else, right? / Christian principles. But I knew some Christian devils, right? And some Muslim saints. And so this is the thing that I tell people, right? Operate in a level of love. You know a level of decency when you see it, man. If you talk to a girl and we get hard, you're not supposed to pipe another girl down or whatever the case is, knowing that y'all got a intellectual property contract. Now not supposed to be sharing bodies and everything if y'all agree to it. You know that hurting someone, unaliving them. I think I'm going by YouTube platform because I don't know if y'all monetizing. That's morally wrong. So we can't be acting like we don't know a moral standard first. So I just want to know people who got common sense and a moral standard first. Then we can talk about religious aspects, but black people are too far behind to be so specific in what you believe. You believe that poo-poo is on top of the moon, then doggone it, does that make you live a better life? Are you imposing your thought, your way, your will upon other people? Or are you living in love, believing that poo-poo exists on top of the moon? So that's the thing that I'm saying. It seems like we stuck in a place because we haven't learned how to elevate and grow. We haven't learned how to elevate and grow here. Like, you see what I'm saying? We got the formality there of it, right? But we're not actually living basic principles. The gentleman said it first. Basically, it's basically a system, a format. Hey, everybody got a format. I look the part, but can you actually be the part? And the ultimate part is love. Love is expressed in various ways. And you
Okay.
speak to people in their love language. Don't speak over their head. Speak directly to their heart and spirit. That's all.
So Brother Rob, though,
Yeah.
dude, based on what you said, dude, did what I say make sense? Did I miss something?
Oh no. Yeah, yeah. Like I caught it at the place what you were saying that grown men shouldn't cry. When you start talking about different aspects of what you're saying, like it shouldn't be like oh aha moment. It's like we should use a level of intelligence in order to go forward because sometimes religious based people, right? If you feel like you just gotta have a book in front of you all the time, that means you're more of a weak individual. So you read the book, right? You gather the facts, you
Exactly.
put it into practice. See, that's the thing. The practice part is often forsaken. The practice part, and then the part of it saying, "Let your light shine." Right? If you're a Christian, let your light so shine for a world. What Oshun? Oshun? Hold on. I don't know. I don't want to call her real name. I don't know if you know. But anyway, all right, Miss Oshun on
Mhm.
here, right? What she's saying is true. Just do so graciously, man. I just feel like we all in the field picking cotton, and one person just got invited to the house to be a house Negro, while the other people are out in the sun a little bit longer. But none of us have no real freedoms. Nobody's owning the house, right?
Okay.
Nobody's not cooking the food to eat for themselves. They're cooking it for still massa over here. So what we gotta do is learn how to put our pieces of the puzzle together and make a complete picture, and then go from there.
Well, Waldo, I think what happened was, for instance, an example of Bruiser feeling like he don't believe that the Bible or Jesus or whatever, Paul, whoever in the Bible spoke about liberation, and that's what their message was. He personally don't believe that what that is, even though most Christians would disagree with that. However, in his own presentation, right, he has certain iconography on his page that he speaks about, and you can see it where he definitely believes. His actions show what he believes in, which is contrary to what he said. So this is why, like, when people profess, that was go back to my point. When people profess to be Christian and then their actions show that they don't really believe that, it's just something that's good for
Yeah,
social orders. Like,
yeah,
I understand what it is, but at the end of the day, what we're saying is our people are suffering, and the question is, are we suffering because we're too religious, or we all should be atheists, or we shouldn't have religion at all, or are we just not following religion correctly the way that it should be followed, or should we just, because some people say, well, these religions are, and Illa has said this before, that it was given to us by outsiders, and while that may be historically true at some point with us, right,
But
generally.
that's not what I said. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all be
Okay, well, you
misquoting.
didn't do you
yeah.
believe
Now
that
I
these
caught part of it,
religions
brother.
were
So y'all
given
gotta
to
excuse me.
people?
I was at Walmart shopping, so
Okay.
you gotta excuse me. I only caught part of the conversation, so I don't know it
Bro,
fully
ain't
in
nobody
depth. But
excusing you
whatever.
for being at Walmart. What I'm
No,
saying is,
no, I don't know
okay,
the depth.
I got you. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the way we receive religion could have been the most atrocious way possible, right? But if the question is, well, is it something in this religion that is causing our community to be disruptive and is false and we shouldn't follow it, right? I can't say that there's any particular religion where, like, I can't say Christianity, if followed correctly the way Jesus in the Bible put it down, is going to cause somebody to do what I'm seeing today in some of these churches. I can't say that. Same thing with Islam, same thing with Judaism, same thing with any of these religions that I'm starting to see. So it's not necessarily the religion, it's how that maybe, although you might have said it better than I can say it right here. Maybe it's the way that it's codified on us, the way we are being outside of it, that is causing this problem where we're really the problem, not the religion given to us. Even if the religion, it was given to us in the wrong way at the wrong time with stuff in it, that's not even the problem. We're the problem. And honestly, I can say that as Black people, at some point we were being victimized, and not to no fault of our own, especially individuals, right? However, now we're at a different place where we choose to be slaves, where we choose to act debaucherous, where we choose to act like, forget the fact that we can get married now. We don't want to get married right now. Like, I mean, this is now a new day. So this is why, to some degree, I like the historical conversation, but I can't get caught up on the historical conversation because it does influence us today. But today is a new day. So I'm not a religious one, but I mean, I don't see the whole problem of religion. Because like I said, and you wasn't here all though, but I said to Illa that in my walk, I don't see how Christians and Muslims and other religions don't get along in real life out here. Like, I don't see where they don't get along.
But why do y'all keep talking about religion all the time? Nobody said there's something wrong with religion. What we saying is people thinking that without their religion, you are missing something. I don't know how many times I gotta say that. You can believe in whatever the hell you want. But when you think that because I don't believe that I'm missing something, and it's causing you to look at me or deal with me in a different way, that's the problem. Because there's more understanding beyond yours. But all people keep hearing is, but I'm saying though, without religion, like you can have it. Y'all, I'm not trying to take y'all religion. You can have it. What I'm saying is people can still get to that same place of nirvana, peace, understanding you have without it. And when you say that to the Christian, that's not enough for you to say, hey, I found peace. And then it reveals the spirit of certain religions. And that comes out. And that's an inquisitionist spirit. People be like, I hear what you're saying. I see that you're a good person. I see that you feed the homeless. I see that you're married. I see that you got beautiful children. I see that you put them in school. I see that you give back. I see that you treat people good. But do you believe in the blood of Jesus? Them type of people, that's a problem. Because they're totally ignorant of a lifestyle and they need to believe something. That's when religion becomes a problem. Using religion to guide your life to be a better person and light to your community, is nothing wrong with that. Y'all can have it. But when you start thinking they got to believe exactly in a certain thing to justify or qualify them in this life or the next, who the hell are you to say that? Because it ain't based on nothing real, but what you believe. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense, brother.
Vic, what up, baby?
Yo, what up? What up? Peace to the fam, yo. I hear y'all having a good conversation out here. So I ain't gonna slow it down with too many greetings, but salute to Blessed in the World. Peace, Miss O'Shun. Illa,
Yes,
I don't know you, brother, but I have seen you around the space. Peace to Geraldo. What you said had a lot of merit to it. Bottom line, this conversation is between my brother Illa and what was the other gentleman's name?
Bruiser.
Bruiser.
Bruiser. Okay. So you and Bruiser had this conversation on Lapeef, no?
Yeah.
Do y'all hear distortion? Because I hear it. I don't know if it's my phone or yours. I hear
Yeah, I
mad
hear
crazy
it.
distortion.
Yeah, son.
It's definitely on your end for sure.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
reset
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Your
they be
son,
messing.
when
When
you
I
speak.
start talking that shit, they start fucking with my shit. I'm telling y'all, yo. They know. They know what it
Hey,
is.
drop.
Y'all
Hey,
know.
yo, drop.
They know.
Hey, yo, drop it. Come right back, yo. I'm gonna wait for you. Say my salutations while we waiting for him to get back because I don't want to say it twice.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, say the sales. Say the sales.
Peace, family. What's up with y'all? Everybody all right?
What up, Vic?
Blessings.
Vic, what up, baby?
Blessings
You know,
overflowing. Blessings overflowing, yo.
I love to hear it.
Go on there. What to tell you?
Okay, so let's get straight back to the stuff. All right. So if this conversation is between you and the brother Bruiser, and it, yeah, a little bit.
Listen, I want to say y'all, but I don't miss the show with the sound because my phone's working fine. Y'all something tripping.
Can you
I'm gonna
hear me
drop
all
down
right?
so y'all can have the sound back, right?
Can you hear
We
me
can
all
hear
right?
you. Yeah, we can hear you. It's
Yeah,
just
we
the
can.
brother down here.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
like yeah.
Okay. Hey, as long as you can hear me, Illa, I'm gonna say this piece, and then when you can get your audio tight, you can respond to it. The situation is between you and the brother on Lapeef, right? Whether he's on Lapeef or y'all just speaking and both of y'all happen to be on Lapeef. I believe both of y'all have platforms, no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would see this as an opportunity if it's a serious conversation enough to readdress. And I find people's belief structures a serious thing. But I would never err to try to elevate my belief over someone else's, especially when they're responsible for their own fate and their own soul. So sharing information is just like anything else, whether you're talking about, you know, cooking recipes or hair tips. So as far as I'm concerned, you're supposed to hear it, but then discern it and sift it out. He had the right to ask him the question. I think based on how he's explaining himself right now, Illa, I think it makes sense. But at the end of the day, he said he's not trying to change bro mind. You feel me? And the question on the floor is, remind me exactly how it was said. Is there something without religion? Is there, what was the quote?
So the question was originally between them. Bruiser asked Illa, "How do you know what morality is without a God sense in terms of religion specifically?" Now, Bruiser is Christian, so he was asking just the basic question of, well, how do you be more? What is morality outside of the religious concept, or maybe even by extension the Christian concept? How do you say, where do you get your morality from, is what he was trying to ask. And he asked that question maybe 3 or 4 times and claimed that Illa did not answer it, even though Illa had made several, well, it's inside of the video, but he had made several statements about how humans have come to understand morality before the advent of any religion, let's say prior to 3000 BC. He made several inferences about that, but it didn't seem to stick with Bruiser, and Bruiser still didn't feel that the question was being answered. So there was some back and forth about, you know what I mean, platforms at that stage here. But yeah.
Who is he to question Bruiser Illa's belief?
Well, no, he wasn't questioning Illa. It was just a theoretical conversation. It was theoretical question.
Okay, so we just pontificating, right? So it don't really mean anything. We shooting the shit because when I lead the conversation, you're going to believe what you believe still, and so am I. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of your points, that people can hear other things and still remain steadfast in their own belief.
Right.
You're supposed to be able to do that. If I am an alcoholic and then I go to rehab, then I get out and I'm recovered, mm-hmm. but I'm scared to go to a party if alcohol is going to be there. I'm scared to go out to the club. That's the environment it used to go down in. Mm-hmm. Then I'm still a fucking alcoholic. I'm just avoiding certain spaces. Mm-hmm. But if
you're an alcoholic, just sit in the back. Just sit in the back.
Okay, so if at the end of the day, if I can go to a party and somebody say, "Hey, shots, everybody shots," and I'd be like, "Yo, you got some water for me or something?" I'll participate, but I ain't drinking. Mm-hmm. Then now I have conquered that thing. It's no longer my master. You feel me? Mm-hmm. If there's supposed to be a level of humility, allowing God to be your master and your only master. That's why he said man can't serve two. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be a servant in every aspect.
Correct.
Can I say something real quick,
Go ahead.
please?
Go
Oh
ahead.
man, brother,
Go
man, I
ahead.
was
Go
with you
ahead.
every
What you
step
talking
of
about?
the
Go
way,
ahead.
my guy. But
Hey, let him. I get out the way. Go ahead and say what you want to say, bro.
yeah, I just theatrical. Don't pay me no mind. But what I was saying is this, right? Okay, everybody is good until it ain't good, right? So I would say still practice certain disciplines. One thing that stuck with me very heavily that Kanye West has said, and excuse my language if this offends anybody. He said, "How do a man stay faithful in a room full of hoes?" So when he said that,
Here's a good
right?
question.
That when a man is around something that once tempted him or whatever
Yeah.
had a hold on him, and he places himself there. Now, if it just happened, he's at an event or something like that, it's cool. But he's willingly putting himself there. How long can you take that fire in his bosom without his clothes being burnt? Like I tell you,
Uh,
I'm a wild
I
boy.
can
Hold
go to a
on.
strip club 100 times and never fuck no hoes or pay for no pussy.
Okay, so I think hold on a bit. I think this goes back to the heart, okay, of the question that Bruiser had asked, and I think that's might be why you're asking that because it's not so much about the question itself, it's about the how. Because we all know what the what is, but it's about the how. And if you're not skilled enough to articulate the how, this is where people get stuck at in the how. You can tell me that you know, you, for instance, some people may feel that there's no separation between, quote unquote, the source of God and creation, right? And so all is mind. We exist in the mind of God. So therefore, it's like they may not have a sense of being obedient to God rather than being in sync with God. Some people see it as obedience. Some people see it as in sync. Some people just see it as inherent being, right? However you conceptualize that, it you're trying to get to the same point. And I think what Illa is trying to say is when you're in a relationship with a woman, when you're in a relationship with people in your community, black people, there should never be a time when their conceptualization of God stifles like your dealings with someone, right? However, in this conversation that took place, I don't feel like anything was being stifled. This is why I agreed to play the devil's advocate. I don't believe anything was being stifled. However, I do believe there was a missed opportunity for true learning on a level where people, let's say some people were at. So a lot of people, like he said, totally got what he was saying and they didn't need further explanation. But for some people, it didn't go over well for them. They walked away feeling like Illa didn't speak.
Technical difficulties. They don't want us to talk about it.
What?
You stuck.
Okay, what part did I get stuck on?
I ain't sure. Go back a sentence.
Okay, so I'm saying that Illa is essentially saying that there should be no disconnection in our community over religion. And it's so basically when you see me and let's say you're a Christian and I'm not a Christian, you shouldn't feel no kind of way about doing business with me, having a relationship with me, disagreeing with me, whatever the case may be. We should be more cohesive and not so much around religion. And I can agree to that, right? But I do understand there's another side of that. Like for instance, when you're operating like in a community, right? There's community rules, right? There's some rules that exist in Islam that don't exist in Christianity, and those rules are diametrically opposed. There's some thought processes that are diametrically opposed. So there's going to be some friction on some level when you talk about community members coming together under different religions. And that is kind of innate. Like you can't get around that. But I understand the point, but I do think that at least it's my opinion that in that conversation there was a lot of missed opportunity to speak about some nuanced things. Like I asked Illa, what's the difference between intuition and instinct? Because that went to the idea of how does mankind from its very inception, like from a baby, without being taught anything, understand the difference between instinctual things, like you might feel instinct to hurt something, or you might feel instinct to move a certain way, how do you differentiate that between, just like an animal, you feel instinct, but
Yeah.
how do you differentiate that between that and your higher self, or let's say intuition, right? Which is something outside of instinct. Intuition is not instinct. So how
Yeah.
do you get
That's
there?
your
How?
judgment.
Remember what I'm saying? The how do you get there? That's the part that people can say the word intuition and instinct, but if you don't know how to articulate how in the middle, it don't really, the conversation now becomes void, and
Now,
it's nothing to it.
So
Hold
was his
hold on, y'all.
response? My bad, yo.
Hold on. To Sophisticated Jerk, big bro, if you got a question, you may want to come up here because we got a lot of strong personalities. So you got a question, you may
Please.
want to come up here and
yeah,
ask it
yeah.
directly. For real. I'm just gonna
Hey,
be honest
hey,
with
yo,
you.
where's the brother Bruiser at? Don't nobody got his email or nothing. I think he should
I
speak
don't
for
have
himself.
I don't have no
I don't have
yeah, I don't have none of that.
yeah,
Fuck.
Now I want to
All
say
right.
this. I do got to get
Where the
ready to
research
roll,
team?
but one thing I'll say, man, yeah, let's just get it together. Let's just vibe out. Just live in love, peace, and unity, man.
Hey,
And I
hey,
want
hold
to
on,
say,
bro, stop right there for just a second. That love, but before the brother had to leave, he said love conquers, or love was somewhere in his constitution. Would you agree with that?
mm-hmm.
Did y'all hear that? Am I tripping?
No, that
No,
was
we
all.
heard it.
Okay, okay. So the bottom line is, when you love your brother, whether he's your blood brother or your blood through another brother, you know what I'm saying? The reality is that, what does it say? How can two walk together lest they be agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you understand that there's rules to this. It says, this is Matthew 18 and 16. But if he will not hear thee, hold on, let me see. Moreover, this is 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. That's the first rule of engagement as men. Interrupt not a man in the midst of his speech until you have heard the entire matter.
I don't
But
agree.
if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses may every word be established.
Mm-hmm.
So that means get two more minds to go with yours. If you right, it should stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it into the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man in a public.
Can I jump in there?
That's it. You got it.
It's
Let
my
me
turn.
hold on before you go, brother. Let me just land this plane, because I didn't just come to read scripture. What I'm saying is that if it's true love, this is how you handle it with somebody in their own language. If you don't speak multiple languages, don't get frustrated when a motherfucker don't understand you speaking clearly. You don't speak his language if you can't give him what I just gave. I'm bringing this to you with other witnesses amongst me who I have not coerced to agree with me. See the matter how we see it, brother, or we must part ways with you, because how can two go together lest they be agreed? If we ain't walking together, we can absolutely do business, be peaceable amongst all men. But if we ain't seeing eye to eye, at some point our roads must diverge. But we can conversate and we can do business. That's all I got, brother. Yours.
Wow. I ain't hear the whole verse. I heard the tail end of it. Sound like was you was reading that to me? That was like for me.
That was for the point, which was, you said before you left that I don't know, I can't quote you, but love was spoken of highly in your constitution. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I said that's the ultimate goal. That's the point. If you move with
Right,
that, then belief was not gonna be such a hang up.
right. I agree with you. So let's start that as a baseline. I I read Matthew 18:15 through 17, which basically states that if you and your brother ain't seeing eye to eye on a matter, it don't matter the matter. This is how you handle it with love in that man language. And if he don't respect it, you can read it to him and it say, nigga, if you claim this, you'll feel me. Or just know that I don't respect what you talking about. Because if I can't understand you and I speak your language, man, you ain't doing something right to me. That's my opinion, and I keep it to myself because we must.
So if who doesn't understand who? If he doesn't understand me,
if he don't understand you, because he asked you a question and you answer him in the language and the truth that you know that was real, but he didn't receive it, which is why he persisted.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
That don't necessarily mean I got to do something different.
No, what I'm saying to you, brother, is that if your intent is the only thing that matters. If your intent is just to get your shit off, get your shit off. But if your
intent is to connect with those who
want
to be connected with. I'm not here to live for. I'm not no martyr. Like, I'm not talking nothing crazy. Like, my mindset is not based on this good book or that good book. I know I'm a good person. Only God see the heart.
How you know?
Look, because I know my life, and y'all don't know my life.
People want to judge me, but I wonder what's your judgment? What's your measure?
My judgment on what?
A good man is. What a good man is.
I mean, it's a lot of things that make a person a good man.
I'm
We can be
listening.
all day about that, but this the thing though. I don't owe nobody shit. I'm not here to try to convince anybody that I need to talk to somebody this way or that way. Like, it's people in that same moment, in that same breath, that understood me, and it's people who didn't. I'm not about to waste time with the ones who didn't, because I'm not for them. Because it seems like all of those people, all they know is the Bible. Whether they Hebrew Israelite, whether they Christian, whether they sometimes Christian, whether they a little bit Christian, whether they're seven. Them the people who got all the issues most of the time with something I say or how I say it. I don't care how they view me. I really don't. Because I'm not coming out my way and just going out my way to play people. I know when people playing with me. I'm giving people what they ask for. And if it's not adequate, then it's cool. Because of course it's not going to be adequate to people who don't read much, but just got a lot of questions when somebody don't agree with their perspective. That's really what it comes down to. And you read in your verse about when people don't understand, you bring it to two people. And if they don't understand, read that part again about bringing something to one person and turn it to the church. Read that part again.
16, but if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
Okay, pause right there. So in the last show, it was just me speaking that from that perspective. The woman on the panel, they understood. They seem to be getting it. A few men, Hamp understood. He tried to fight it, but he understood. The 2 believers didn't understand. True. And even when I came to my conclusion, True said his last statement was, that's fair. That's fair. That was his last statement. Then Bruiser kept going back and forth, back and forth. So you said if he don't understand, because first of all, you just talking from your opinion. It's just your opinion, bro. So you could put me in the hot seat and say if he don't understand me, but it could be the other way around for we don't understand him. Because on the first show, I just had that opinion. Then we had a show a couple days ago, and there were 2 more brothers who had that opinion, and they didn't agree with him. And then it turned into 3 brothers who didn't agree with him, which was Hamp. He just said it in a way that's more appealing and make him, but he didn't agree with what he was saying. He said the same thing we said, that Christianity and the Bible are not necessarily synonymous. He said that. I said that. Monster said that. Another brother came on the show later on said that. So we brought not only just 2 more brethren, 3 more. And he still didn't get it, and he didn't make no sense. So who's really the person that needs to be brought in front of the congregation to see what's what? And then you go to the crowd, and then you go to the comments, which is a bigger congregation, and all they talking about was how goofy they look, and they understand exactly what I was talking about. So even though y'all can quote whatever scripture, you could give me any edification, whatever God put in your, that's fine. I'm just saying that don't mean that's the end all be all for my life.
So check me out, bro. Right? For the conversation to be had, 2 things can be true, yeah?
Yeah.
Can 2 things be true at the same time?
Yeah, but it still comes down to perception.
So no, don't steal me.
I'm not stealing you, but I'm just saying it's still everything comes down to, like I said earlier, They said
Hold on,
two
bro. Hold on,
people.
bro. I want to speak right this moment. Give me a moment.
I mean, I wasn't finished talking, but go ahead. You just read the whole
Give me,
verse, but go ahead.
just give me a moment, bro.
You got it, man.
17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it into the church. You did that. But if he neglect to hear the church, is what you're saying, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. I guess that just means a nigga that's out here. So at the end of the day, even Jesus said, dust your feet off if they will not hear you.
And I dusted my feet off, and I dusted they off with their goofy ass logic.
I led this with, let me lead with, I agree with you on moral principle.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I went on to say that when you trying to reach someone, if that is your intention,
I did, but my listen, y'all talking about a grown ass man. That nigga ain't my fucking daddy, and I don't have to live on according to the laws of the
what am I
standard
saying,
of
brother?
dark.
What's
Listen,
my
bro,
point? Before you move to your point, what's my point? Because I
let me
want you to
finish. Let me
respond to
finish
my
speaking,
point.
bro. Let me finish speaking, bro. I don't have to. Your point is your point. I'm talking about point. So what I'm saying is,
Damn, bro,
my point. No,
there's
because
rules.
no,
There's rules
listen,
to the
because
engagement, brother.
bro, I'm just saying your point is your point, and mine is mine.
There's
What I'm
rules of
saying,
engagement between men, brother.
yo, we do. It
So
is rules
mind
of
your
it.
P's and Q's in here, bro. I'm
Yo,
family here, yo.
son,
Relax.
yo, I'm mad relaxed, bro. Y'all just ain't used to this type of
I
energy.
don't like that assertive nature when we just men speaking. So respect
Son,
is what we reach
I'm
for
a man,
everything.
son. I'm always gonna speak assertive, bro. Nobody call you out your name. Ain't nobody say you don't make no
I'm
sense.
saying when you walk over a nigga like I'm doing you right now, that's disrespectful, huh?
What am I walk? What are you talking about?
If you giving me the floor, I asked for the floor. I didn't take it. I said,
You
may I?
you got the floor, bro. You got it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go on,
I'm not speaking around you or to some other
bro.
thing.
You
I'm
got the
speaking
floor,
directly
bro. You
to you.
got it. I'm quiet. You got the floor.
Okay, for sure. That's all I want. Just a moment.
But you just talking. Like,
I read that verse to say I set my baseline is that I agree with you. And if your intention, that's where you cut me off. Your intention is to reach a man, then you must speak the language that he understands, aka meet him where he is at. But if you cannot reach him, it is okay for you to go by him. Someone else who can reach him will, if he needs to be reached. God will find a way and a messenger to reach him in his own time. He's not your responsibility. Like you say, he's a grown man. And if he heard it from the congregation and people co-sign what you were saying, which I also agree with you. If in this context, as you said what you said today, I agree with you. And if your intent is just to say your piece and reach the ones that you can reach, like you said, then that's your tribe, brother. Some will communicate with love, some will communicate with fear, but they are both effective teachers. All of that's in the book. These are things you could bring to him. Now, if you don't speak that language in that way, or didn't think of it to do it that way, or even care to do it that way, then you have the right to do none of those things. But I'm just stating not to teach you anything. I'm just stating that this is a point blank case where if you read this to this man, he have nothing to say to you.
bro, can I talk now? Can I
You
talk?
got it, yo.
All right. That doesn't mean that. Just because I reading that to somebody doesn't guarantee any kind of result for them to do anything. That's an opinion. That's not a fact, bro. That's just your opinion. If I would have read that to him, would that have nothing to do with it? Which lets me know that I don't even think you understand what he really wanted to know. He asked me, can you understand life? And can you come to some type of understanding of a coexistence with other things, aka morality, without religion? And I said yes. So that verse you just spit, bro, talking about it was just a verse of understanding from the Bible. That wasn't you don't answer a question about the Bible with the Bible. That was the point of the question. The question was to pose because Lapeef asked us again on the show the other day. He said, "Yo, what would you guys do? How would you think, or what would you do if you didn't have religion?" It's called an abstract question to see if your mind could stretch beyond regurgitating scripture to understand your actual reality in the actual world. It was a hypothetical. And what I did today is I gave an example of how you can do that. I literally read from a historical event because we only could think, we our mundane minds today cannot think beyond religion because that's all we know. But once upon a time, our people just lived in tune with nature. And when they came upon these people, I read, not out of the Bible, but out of an actual history book about an actual encounter with people in the Americas and how they naturally were. And it was very peaceful. Very matter of fact, I'm gonna read it because you read. We're reading tonight, right? So let
Hey,
me
read,
read
get
it
your book,
again.
bro.
Let's read it again. I'm gonna try to summarize it. So basically, this is the account of a priest on his third voyage with Christopher Columbus, and he came to the Americas. Because we all over the place, but it's about the question ultimately was, can you understand life or whatever without religion? And my answer was yes. And this is what I backed it up with. When he found these people, this is what he called them. He said, of all the infinite universe of humanity, these people in the Americas, most specifically in this connotation, Hispaniola, which is Haiti and Dominican Republic, he said, of all the infinite universe of humanity, these people are the most guileless and most devoid of wickedness and duplicity, the most obedient and faithful to their native masters and to the Spanish Christians whom they serve. They are by nature the most humble, patient, and peaceable, holding no grudges, free from embroilments, neither excitable or quarrelsome. These people are the most devoid of rancors, hatred, or desire for vengeance of any people in the world. Not America, not Baltimore. He said the world. And because they are so weak and complacent, they are less able to endure heavy labor and soon die of no matter what and soon die of no matter what malady. The sons of nobles amongst us brung us up in the enjoyments of life, refinements, and are no more delicate than are these Indians, even those among them who are of the lowest rank of laborers. He said, these people are poor, for they not only possess little, but have no desire to possess worldly goods. For this reason, they are not arrogant, embittered, or greedy. They were very clean in their persons, with alert, intelligent minds. Alert and intelligent. When you're intelligent, that means you have the ability to decode. There's a literacy involved in that. This is before they had any scripture or verse. He said they were very clean in their persons with alert, intelligent minds, docile and open to doctrine, which shows you they didn't have any doctrine. That's why they were open to yours. They said they were open to doctrine, very apt to reason our holy Catholic faith, to be endowed with various customs and to behave in a godly fashion. So when he found Mary had the countenance of the Most High. So when I spoke to Bruiser and said it's possible through universal understanding, because universal truth is universal truth. It's truth that you can find when you observe the universe. If you do that, you will have our nature is peace. We just believe that our nature is wild and wretched. We'll just destroy each other. Because all we know is our people in this day and time, after we've been drinking Kool-Aid all our lives, literally and figuratively, after we've been coming from broken homes, after we've been exposed to all types of media and imagery that's not even naturally to be consumed by your brain. After all of that, now we can't conceive, how can we ever know how to behave without belief? As if this is who you are. No, this is what you've become. So what I like to do is go back to before that, to before we was hit over the head with the bullshit, because that's who you really are. If I take a fucking wild animal and make him a pet, he can be that for a minute, but that's not who he is. He's still a fucking lion. That's why you see a lot of domesticated wild animals. They get broken for a little while. I don't know how old y'all are. There used to be these two magicians called Siegfried and Roy. They had
Yeah, I
these
remember
big
that.
old
I remember that when
majestic
the
type,
Lions turned on
and
them.
they whooped it. They almost killed it. The magic is gone. Let's just say that. So what I'm
Facts.
saying, brother, is I provided evidence of the question, but the person just don't want to have it. So when you give people that and they come back with God is not even so, they speak as if, They're
You said
all about.
you provided evidence of the
I mean,
question.
tonight, I just proved and backed up how I was so convicted on why I believe people can find a moral compass without religion. I provided an actual source of it actually happening to prove that it's possible. That was in the
Where did you
Americas.
read that? Where was you reading from?
This book is called The Iceman Inheritance by Michael Bradley. Prehistoric sources of Western man's racism, sexism, and aggression. The foreword was by John Henry Clark. I read from page 15. That's what it is, brother.
You say the name again. The Icelandic what?
The
I man
Iceman
inheritance.
Inheritance by Michael Bradley.
Vic, I'll send it to you, Vic. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
'Cause
Got you.
I got it in my I have to actually have it in my Amazon in my cart. So I got a question for you, bro. Right?
What's up, bro?
So
And I gotta go soon. Any question, last question, throw them at me, and I gotta
I
get
got
out.
one. I got one.
yeah. We the 3 hour mark we out. It's 2:46. So this
I
is my
need
question.
3.
Yeah. This is my question. This is my question. Right, real quick. I know that maybe, at times you may not want to sit in a seat of leadership, right, brother? But maybe our people need you to do that. And at times I struggle with that as well, right? At times I struggle with not wanting to lead or not wanting to give information or not wanting to help people out or just thinking, man, these people are grown. I don't want to do this and that and say this, that, and the third or whatever. They should know. They should do the research themselves. But do you think that that's what's needed in our community in order for
But
our
that's
people
what,
to grow and be better?
brother, listen. That's what's being given. And it's been being
Mm,
given. The question is, niggas want to tell you how to do it. It's like when you talk, it's like,
That's
listen,
true.
let me tell you something. When you talking to these men about their beliefs, they turn into the same woman that they talk about their attitudes right in front of you. These niggas will sit
mm,
there and argue with a woman and be like, oh, men go through this, men go through that. The women will be like, well, who hurt you? These men will tell these women on these panels, well, you can't dismiss a man's pain. But if I tell you, hey, I don't deal with the Christianity from the church perspective, well, he's been hurt by the church. They turn into the same girls. They have the same cognitive
mm.
dissonance that they accuse black women of having about anything in their lives when you question their sweet Jesus. I don't need to believe some man was mutilated for me to be able to see another day. I don't have to believe that to be a successful, quality example of an upstanding man. And if grown black men can't accept that, I don't give a fuck what they talking about because they're
Mm,
children. Period. That's forever
mm,
and ever. It'll gonna feel like that. Amen. And you can never make me and convince me that believing that will make me better. And if you do, you are out of your mind because you can never ever prove it. Mad people came and showed people the way. Leadership is not leading you, it's showing you you are your own leader.
fact.
I'm giving you books so you can. Wow, if I'm trying to be over you, why would I share you my source? That ain't that. Once I give you my source, I'm right where you at. You got
Facts.
me. You got everything. You got me. Here's the book. Here's the book. Here's what I read. You can read it too. I ain't got nothing else. So I'm
Mm,
giving this shit to grown men who telling me, God don't want you to be liberated on earth. I don't think God wants you to have 40 acres and a mule and freedom and liberation. That's what they said. But this man got the money. He said he's the founder of the money pill. In today's time on the internet, when people put pill in front of something, they're talking about what? Some type of ideology.
Mhm.
That's the trending term. Red pill. That means a certain ideology. You got the black pill. You got this pill, that pill. He said he is the founder of the money pill. If you're the founder of the money pill, that means you are invested into having something on this planet.
Yeah.
But when you couldn't answer a historical question and show that you have proof of anything you're talking about, oh, I don't believe God wanted that. Why? Because you want to look good in the moment because you are moving prideful and pompously. And like I said on my other video, there's a difference between humble ignorance and adamant empathy. I
Okay.
am adamantly, passionately empathetic. These people are passively full of shit. And that's why our people fall
mm,
for,
mm.
hey, brother, how you doing, sister? Oh, brother. We fall for that dumb shit all the time and end up in someone's trunk or in the cult waiting for a ship to come because they took some Kool-Aid because he was nice.
Okay. And
Mm.
I need to ask a question before we run out of time.
And Lola, hold on. Let me just say this because
Oh, what
I'm
now?
going to be right. I'm gonna be quick. So now, brother, you answered my question, right, Ellie? You answered my question, and I wasn't trying to say that you wasn't trying to lead or
No,
that
I
you
ain't even talking
weren't
about
leading.
you. I'm just saying.
Okay, okay, perfect. All right, Lola, go ahead. It's on you.
Okay, so, and again, I'm supposed to be the devil's advocate tonight, but I'm not really right now. If I was there and I would have asked you that question, and you would have given me the example to show that this is a real thing, right? My next question, just based on who I am today, would be not so much what, because I think what you did is gave him the evidence that this is a real thing. This did happen. So you have to acknowledge that this is real. My next question would be, and it would be to you too personally, do you how do you tell yourself, what method are you using that tells you, for instance, a thing is wrong or not? Like the how. Now that I know what the what is, the truth is that people have, my next question would be still, how is this happening, in the sense of, for instance, like, and I think I touched on it earlier, if we're not thinking in terms of sinning, right, like just disobeying something that something or someone told us to do, right? um why is it that in our culture we may feel that certain things is just wrong, right? Because we just feel that is wrong. But in another place, like, they might feel like, no, this is right. For instance, child sacrifice. That was seen by people who lived in a time period where child mortality was a big problem and you needed children for success. So this idea of sacrificing children, right? Your firstborn specifically is ideology that they feel is a good thing so that they can have more children, sacrifice now to get more later. We believe in that today, but we would never apply that when it comes to life. But we're working with something different now. So the question is, well, what is it that says, hey, that's wrong and what we're doing is right? Or for instance, in their position, what we're doing is wrong and what they're doing is right. Where's the deciding factor within the human that can say, hey, this is wrong and we know this is wrong, not that we have an opinion that this is wrong?
It's going to come from how somebody feel one day, because it's all from within. The kingdom of heaven is within. That shit was right up until somebody didn't feel like it was no more. You have to sense something. If you don't sense something, you ain't gonna feel shit. The most religious people is because they don't feel God, never. So they gotta read something, they gotta go somewhere, they gotta wear something. Because if you just leave them to their own devices, they're gonna do goofy shit. Some people just is so in tune with themselves that they just know how to move around shit.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as this the secret about life, like the Jay-Z song, ain't no church in the wild. It ain't no way to avoid no mistake. It's all about your intention and your heart. Like, for example, a dude, based on the law of the land, you're going to be held accountable to whatever you do based on the law on the land. The law of the land is based on a human making a decision and agreed upon other people to agree that it's real or not. Like you just said, people agreed to child sacrifice. So today, right, if you rob a bank, you're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
If you do something illegal with money, you might get locked up.
Yeah.
But some people might be in a dire straight situation where they don't have no choice. So technically they wrong, but technically they not.
Mm-hmm.
They did something because they were trying to preserve somebody else who they felt like they loved so much and they just wanted them to have it. So I didn't want to rob them,
Mm-hmm.
but I did it. I didn't want to steal extra hours without clocking in with my supervisor, but I worked them extra hours. Is it against the company policy? Yes. So technically, are you disappointing some moral authority in your immediate life? Yes. But are you disappointing the Most High because you did that? No. But people believe you are, but you're not. So there is no perfect way to do this shit. You just got to be in your intentions is right. You're going to fail. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to think something is right and still don't do it wrong. That don't mean you're damned to hell. Like I got to ask people, what if you didn't know what sin was, if you just was sensing stuff in your heart, like most of us feel when something is wrong, we just feel it. You don't think of a verse. You feel that shit. When you're in a fucked up situation when I'm talking to people, I don't think of words too much. I just feel it and I keep it pushing. The word is only describing feelings. All these words we be reading are describing things the best way, depending on scenario. Like I gave earlier, how a chair is a chair to sit in, but depending on the scenario, that chair could be a weapon to hit somebody. So the reality exchanges is what determine the definition of things. So at the end of the day, there's no perfect way to do this. Like there is no way to avoid folly. You're gonna do it. It's just that doesn't mean it's the end of your life. There's a lesson even when you make a mistake. There's always a lesson. There's always something to be had, unless you're just an axe murderer and just doing wild shit. But the reason why I read from that book is because that book and that scenario proves that he said by nature. He didn't say by reading. He didn't say by studying. He said their nature was this way. That means that's just what they are. I don't believe that we need a religion to fix us, but most people do. History doesn't tell me that. History tells me that our people are innately this way. And that's why that book I read from talks about the other people, what they are innately. And most of our issues is because we are consumed with these people's ideas, their perspectives, their diet, their information, their media, and we're trying to make sense of real shit, but we're full of bullshit. Literally, though. Me too. I grew up smoking mouths. I used to drink. I did a lot of shit. Like I grew up I ain't gonna say the worst, but I grew up in the hood and it was fucked up. A lot of mistakes I made. That's what happens when you in control of someone, when you under someone else's reality. So it's gonna be a bunch of shit wrong. But it ain't because you didn't ask Jesus for forgiveness. That ain't the reason why it's messed up. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Our people be thinking it's destined for us to go through this and all. Like, I don't believe that. I think somebody came with an agenda that we wasn't prepared for and we never recovered because it's something that was so far outside of you gotta think. He just described people. He said they had no greedy bone in their body. We from the hood. When somebody come through the hood and be mad green and mad friendly, most people gonna be like, yo, they don't know where the fuck they at. They don't know where the fuck we is. Yo, he friendly as hell, son. He got mad shit on. Yo, he got his jewelry on. Yo, you see that nigga, bro? And his mind like, hey, yo, what's up? Hey, you can wear it. Cool. You'll bring it back to me? Yeah, I'll bring your chain back. All right, man, I'll be right here waiting for you. And that shit never come back. So our nature made us susceptible to these people because we didn't even think like that. We didn't even think nobody would come up and rob us and do all that shit. That was who we are. We like that now. We like them people now. That's why we so fuck that. What's this? What's that? Before we just felt love and kept it pushing. But we've been exposed to somebody else. We just believe. We're skeptics and believers. Think about that.
Yo,
Black people are skeptics and believers. Shit is crazy, bro.
so
I
so
just
we
want to
we
say,
button
hold on, Vic, hold on. I just want to say, Illa, I definitely agree with what you're saying about us being indoctrinated and how colonization and oppression has completely separated us and programmed us to believe and move a certain way. Um,
But this the
but
thing,
yeah,
it ultimately separated us from ourselves. You got to think about something.
facts.
Think about this, because we're so spooky. See, the ancients understood spirituality and science was one.
Facts.
That's why religious people don't respect history. They think history is just someone's opinion because they don't respect scientific, conclusive methods of anything. They don't understand that. They're believers. When you are drinking soda, think about us, bro. I'm from a generation where, yo, a lot of us ain't really drink water full time till we got in our 20s.
That's a fact. Me
Like
too.
we gotta think. Like we so caught up in with the Bible. I'm on the planet. I'm dealing with what's here. I don't gotta read. I read this shit. The thing is, I only read for y'all. I read so I can know the truth to get to my people. Nigga, I knew this shit was when I read, when you're really intelligent and really in tune with your life, when you read shit, it just validate what you was feeling anyway. You be like, I knew I was like that.
Facts.
I knew that was going
Facts.
on. I knew it. Information just justify that. Y'all niggas is just looking for the proof that Jesus died for you. Nigga, your mama died for you. Your grandmama died for you.
Mm.
Your uncles died for you. These motherfuckers died for you.
Yep.
Niggas is crazy, man. Cry loud and spare not. You ain't drink water till you was 22. You think you gonna figure out the universe? You just trying to drink your water. You got years of Coke. You got years of fucking soda and Big Macs in your body. The
That's a
Bible said,
fact.
let the herbs be thy medicine. Nigga, you been eating, we eat Chick-fil-A. Big, you not even, what makes you fucking think you got the capacity to
Why would you quote
understand
the
God?
Bible?
What?
Can I ask you something? Why would
Hold
you
up,
quote
when
the
I
Bible?
finish, like you just gave me that speech about not interrupting. Let me finish.
Yo, well then wrap it up, B.
I ain't gotta wrap up nothing because this ain't just show. See, like I said, I'm glad you saying this because when you talk, them fucking demons start coming out. Come on out then, nigga. The fuck out of here. They invited me on the show. I don't know who you is. I ain't saying nothing wrong, but hit dogs holler. Like I was saying, we don't know who the fuck we is. You don't know what's going on. So the most intelligent thing you could do when you filled with cigarettes, Black and Mild dust, hookah lounge sauce, hot wings, your cells ain't even breathing. You think you got the capacity to understand life? So the safest thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to read. Because regardless of what you're going through now, it has no bearing on what happened before you. I ain't no fool, bro. Last question and I'm out.
Hold on. So Lola, it's on you. It's on you, Lola. Vic, I'm gonna definitely holler at you on the back end. You already know. But Lola, it's on you. So go ahead. I'm rolling the ball out. Go ahead.
Well, I had asked the question that I felt was was pertinent, just based on the interaction for the video, and then obviously the video that led to what we were reviewing briefly. And I feel like that was important because in reality, whether Bruiser really meant his question like genuinely, I know that there's somebody out there that genuinely needed to understand that might not have been at a level that some other people may have been at, and so I'm just somebody who can understand from that perspective because I make sure that I understand or keep that in mind because of my own journey. And so that's not to say that Illa didn't explain it. And I think that's where, in my opinion, where Bruiser took that conversation as he was having a conversation with someone that wasn't really explaining to him when in fact he was. It just so happens that because he isn't as scholarly adept in the conversation that he was having, things was a bit convoluted. And
No,
so
he's not scholarly as he says he is. Because
well,
he's the
I
one
don't
who has the money pill. He's the creator of the money pill.
well, I never heard of that. So you
Go
just
to his
said,
Instagram. It's in his bio. He said he's the founder of the money pill.
okay,
See, what y'all focusing on the question, I'm focusing on the credibility and attention of the person that's talking to me. That matters.
well, that does
Anybody can ask you whatever, but what's your intention to ask you that? What's your heart? What's the purpose?
that does matter. But see, from how he was speaking and how he wasn't speaking, rather, I could tell that whether he had that money pill on his page or not, I could tell. But see, that's why I
So
said
that undermines everything we talking about. If that's true, if that is a fact, what you said, then all that none of the other stuff matters because that shows why it went how it went. Because he's that person talking about something else. Point blank, case closed, and he ain't read nothing and stood on the fact that I didn't read and I'm not going to read. He called what I just read to y'all, oh, that's bullshit. I'm not reading that. I don't read bullshit. He said that's bullshit. What are we talking about? He said it.
right.
He didn't say I didn't read that book. I gotta look that up. I need to verify and see the validity of that. I could take that. That's respectable. That's real. He said that's bullshit. I ain't reading that bullshit.
He did say that. But see,
So what are we talking about?
No. But here's the thing. I had that same question at some point in my life, and there was no internet when I had that question. I had the Catholic library when I had that question, and then I had a bunch of people who had 5th and 8th grade educations around me that was teaching me. I didn't have nothing but that, and then a desire to want to know, but then don't really know where to go, and I'm just kind of floating around. So I remember when I had that question in my mind, which is why I felt like, you know what, I'll come and have the conversation because I remember where I was at and what I needed to hear when I asked that question. No matter why he asked, I know where I was at. So that's a question that is in more than 1 or 2 million people's minds. And it's my opinion that even in the passage you read, that's underskirting the reality that we live in, that we have these existential questions of how and why that these things can exist. And then until we get a grasp on that, we can't really move beyond that until we truly understand. But truly understanding does come at a cost of education, but it also comes at a cost of genuine desire to wanting to know. And
Exactly. And he didn't have that.
Dang, Lola, they shutting us down, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
well, ain't nobody shut me
We
down.
we getting some interference, Lola. You know what happens when we get on the Black
Oh,
Files, man.
no.
Ah, man, here we go again, man. God dang it.